but more than likely, this is going to come to an end sometime soon. The vehicle is not going to be able to continue to travel too far on the 14 freeway northbound. Avenue G is next. All
right. The show today was almost going to be late because I was watching this. I've been watching this for the past hour. Some dude in Los Angeles stole a truck, and he ain't quitting. They've done spike strips a couple of times. So before we get the show started, let's just watch this for a little while. Coming to us live from Los Angeles. Let's see here. Let me make sure we get it big, and we'll listen to the description. I don't know who the air traffic guy is. I'm a Chris Christie fan. I like that guy. This guy who's on now, the voice you hear in the helicopter tracking this, he might be that MSNBC girls. There's an MSNBC host on fairly popular. I don't know her name. I don't watch MSNBC, but her dad is like the famous Los Angeles helicopter pilot. Well, now he transed. So he's like, I don't know. I think that's him. Jackson is his last name. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, let's join this car chase. He's gone over a bunch of spike strips, and we're just waiting for it to end. So here we go. Here's more.
Right over all four wheels,
right.
Scott.
Look at him. He's on rims.
Nice, Rob. Yeah, more than likely the left front is punctured as well. The right rear doesn't appear to be punctured, but it certainly got that one. But boy, bring up the speed tracker. It seems like the speed is really high right now for a vehicle.
He's on skates.
I don't see it, but a vehicle, there we go. 70 miles an hour for a vehicle without a tire on the front, that's really high. So I don't think this is going to last too much longer. At some point, that could come off. That hub could just come off the axle.
We're here for it. We're just going to watch. This is going to end shortly, I can tell you. As a veteran of these car chases, as a matter of fact, I just watched one from last night before I went to sleep.
There was a time where a Tesla tried to get in front of the vehicle and slow him down back in the Palmdale area. Good Samaritan, if you will, but certainly ill-advised. And the suspect did have to try and get around that vehicle and slowed for a bit. But then, as you saw moments ago, that successful spike strip took out the tire. And boy, we're still traveling at a pretty high rate of speed there.
Yeah, and of course we're seeing that this is a very just in general, this is a very unusual pursuit. This is a traffic management truck. You see all the signs in the flatbed. This is not necessarily a truck that's really good about, agility. It's just a workhorse of a department, and it's incredible.
Look at it. So it's
this driver not pulling.
So it's one of them trucks that's probably just left with the keys in it in the middle of the expressway, and some crackhead probably jumped in it, and now they've been on a high-speed car chase for the last hour and a half.
Would you say with one of these kind of trucks, or is it because the rim is so wide?
Well, at some point, that is definitely going to be the case. Right now, it looks like it's just holding on. But what's going to happen is it's going to heat up. And once there's no more rubber at all left, then that rim is going to start to spark. It's going to heat up.
Yeah, okay, we get that. We don't need that. Let me tell you, as a veteran of watching these things, what's going to happen here. First of all, the myth that nobody ever gets away is bullshit. I watch these from Los Angeles or Arizona. It's primarily Southern California, Los Angeles. I watch these every time a new one gets posted. I watch it. People get away all the time, and there are ways to get away. And I won't bore you with those details right now, but there are ways. If you watch enough, you're like, oh, he's going to do the underpass again. All right, this is over. He's gone. They're never going to find him. In this case, because of what this is the theft of a work truck that was probably left with the keys in it. Now, I imagine this work truck, I mean, it was probably on the highway. Or I suppose maybe it could have been like at 7-Eleven adjacent to the highway. But I imagine, I'm just putting together, I think this was probably parked in the center lane surrounded by orange cones in a work zone or something. And a dude, and I don't know what dude, but I do know that he's a dude who could find himself on an expressway, which tells me a couple of things. He's probably a homeless guy. He's probably a crackhead. He's probably... Here's why this appears different than, let's say, the one that I watched last night. The one that I watched last night was a car chase based on a home invasion. Somebody was robbing a house and set the alarm, and the police were chasing them. Those people got away. Those people got away because they're not crackheads who are just doing it at the spur of the moment. those people were like real criminals who understood and who actually understand now that, you know, just because the helicopter's in the air, that doesn't mean they're going to get you anymore. This is California. This is LA, baby. There are plenty of places for us to hide from that helicopter. One of the many clover leafs is 100% of the time the way they get away. All right, so that's what happened last night again. This one here, this guy gonna get caught. This guy, I think is just, he's probably really high or, you know, Jones in or whatever. I don't know. He's obviously somebody who does what this guy did, which was just steal a truck, like a highway construction truck like this. He's not a real criminal. He doesn't have a plan. The tires are now on rims. This is going to end shortly. And this guy we're going to see, he's going to do the whole thing where he puts his hands around out the window and the car's going to get surrounded by, like, all of a sudden, like 50 cop cars are going to show up from nowhere. All right, let's check back in.
Los Angeles app, this chase has been going on for roughly an hour now.
Over an hour.
Had tried several times to create an opportunity to throw the spike strip out. So this is another look. You can see that's they got both front tires gone, but they had tried several times to get in a position where they could do the spike strip, which is very rare on a freeway because of two things: one, the speed of the vehicle, and two, the traffic. There are so many other vehicles
hi chatters.
on the road. They didn't
Where's all the
want
chatters?
to put the officer at risk, and they also didn't want to damage other vehicles. So to see them be able to get themselves in a position where they got just the chase vehicle and no other vehicles, and execute it so perfectly that they almost got all four vehicles, or all four tires. In this case, they just got the front, it looks like. That's a great look at the passenger.
All right, what do we got here?
What
do we got here? That watch doesn't look like a crackhead's watch. I'll tell you that. My theory is right now losing some weight.
Not about it. But again, you know, you're just saying that there's no rubber, but I can't tell.
All right, on the right, they're showing us one of the spike strips.
Spike strip again. It really is. That is just so well
choreographed. Left is live. Right is highlights of what you've missed.
You see all four tires get hit and punctured right there. But again, we're looking at this.
So I've been watching this guy for an hour. He didn't, that I saw, he didn't cause any accidents. I mean, cutting people off and all that stuff, you know, but he wasn't, the people last night, the people who were being chased after a home invasion, the people last night, they caused a whole bunch of accidents. None of them looked too serious, but man, you really got to be careful. It doesn't matter if your intersection is green and you're going, you still got to look, because there's a lot of jackasses running from cops out there.
Some traffic volume, it just didn't work. But now the driver continuing basically in the same lane looks pretty calm considering everything that is going on, and we're just now at a wait-and-see game, if you will, following along the suspect traveling northbound here in the north end of the Antelope Valley. There's a little community coming up ahead, but we haven't seen the suspect have any intention of trying to get off the freeway from the moment that we got overhead.
So what do you think? Is that an official California government vehicle, or is that an independent company that looks to be contracted maybe to do this work?
Once this ends, and it will end.
Here in Illinois, you know, well, actually, it's so funny. I think, don't you, in Texas, don't you have TDOT or TxDOT, Texas Department of Transportation, and those trucks are clearly marked that way. Here in Illinois, we have IDOT, Illinois Department of, you know, kind of obvious. But I don't instantly recognize that as an official state vehicle.
Basically Rosemont. So it just, people need to be aware that this is heading northbound on the 14, and it is going to gum things up if you're heading up in that way.
Yeah, we're in Rosemont right now. If we continue north, you know, we're headed towards Mojave. That'll be the next stop. We start thinking about what we're going to do for fuel, and so that could be our fuel stop. If we can.
This dude's going to run the helicopter out of gas. That's another thing they do. That's another thing that happens a lot. Sometimes they get away because the helicopter just, you know, well, my shift, I got to go home. I don't care. Barney says, how's he keeping that straight? I would think the meth, maybe. I mean, because you're absolutely right. There is no way that any normal person, regardless of how skilled a driver they are at these speeds, with this kind of weird, well, I was going to say weird imbalance of a vehicle, but maybe this is a pretty balanced vehicle because of all that shit in the back. Anyway, that's a great point, Barney.
Yeah, and again, there's no traffic there, so that is making things much safer for everybody involved. And at some point, the CHP is going to decide What are we going to do next? Because this driver,
I gotta say, cat baby, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out, because, all right, so the main guy that I usually watch and the guy that I like and know immediately is a guy by the name of Chris Christie, not the former New Jersey governor. Chris Christie does one of these. He needs all the, I guess Chris Christie is the night shift, because all the real good ones that I watch seem to happen in prime time. And that's Chris Christie. And then there's another dude who's really famous. He's like the dean of this in Los Angeles, like the first guy. I think he's the OJ guy. And that guy, I think he might be retired, or I thought maybe this could be him. I don't know. But that guy is the father of an MSNBC chick. Something, I think it's Jackson. Is there a Jackson girl? Cute little girl. Well, little girl's like 50 now. But you know what I mean? She's like petite. I don't know.
That might be the most difficult thing to navigate at that point.
Haley Jackson, is that a person? Anyway, her dad is like the dean of LA, helicopter pilot guys. And he's a woman now, and he still does it.
There isn't much.
Fun fact. No judgment. You don't do judgment. But you're right. You're right, Kat. This is very. He seems to have a speech impediment for a man who works in a business where probably, articulation and speaking clearly is important.
To make a turn. But they're not going to try to pitch it over 60 miles an hour. So if they slow to make a turn, then they potentially could end it in that manner. I mean, how far until they get to that point, Scott? Is that still,
that's a way.
Oh, is it that far away?
Yeah, now this is a great point out of Barney. That sign that is on top of the roof, Barney, I think that's what you're talking about. That sign, like, in Formula One, that thing is acting as a wing right now. So that might be, Barney, I don't know. I'm not a guy who knows this stuff. But I would think just, having stood in the wind, that big thing on the hood of the cab may be acting as an aid in keeping this thing straight. Oh my God, look at that. This dude's got nothing but open road.
So they can get it out there in advance. They don't have to worry. You see it right there.
It's out there already.
They're just going to pull it. Push back in, Rob. Can you push back in, Rob, to the spike strip? Right there. I think I see it underneath the overcrossing. Yep. There it is right there.
Okay.
And when the suspect gets closer, they're just going to pull it. You can hold it right here. I'm talking to the pilot. Why don't you go to the other side? Just keep going. It's going to be hard for us to stay on this side. By the time the vehicle gets...
Sometimes they miss with the spike strips, and you just know that the cop is humiliated.
So it looks like it's starting to disintegrate. It looks like this vehicle, slowly but surely...
There we go. Zoom in. Let's see. Oh, nice position, helicopter. You push it over.
We should see this happen. There it goes. So hopefully they got the rear tires now, and if that's the case, that really should stop the vehicle soon.
Yeah, and it's happened really quickly. The last time, those tires deflated so rapidly. But again,
I'm sorry, guys. I love this stuff. This is human drama. This is real. It's happening. It's happened to a dude. I'm thinking, you're wondering what this guy. Look at him though. Look at him though. Look at this dude.
One of the things.
Does he that whatever that baby blue thing is around his wrist?
One of the things about the front.
Is that like an Apple Watch? Because then he isn't the homeless crackhead who I thought probably just stole this thing. Then he's something else.
It's going to disintegrate so quickly. The back, it does have equipment back there, but the engine is in the front, and the back is just some general weight, but it's not the weight of the vehicle. So this will go down, but it's the disintegration of those tires.
Look, people, go grab lunch or whatever you need, but we're going to watch this thing all the way through. I'm committed to this. This is what I do. We got a full show for you, too. Don't worry. We're going to talk about everything.
What's interesting is how calm the driver is. Now, you see on the steering wheel, making those little movements. Now, the suspect wasn't doing that earlier. I can't tell if it's a man or a woman either. But you can tell now there's a little shaking going on with the steering wheel. So
that's a shot. When this dude, when this is all adjudicated and he's back home in the hood, when they play this video, that's gonna be one that his friends. Hey, he couldn't even tell if you were a dude or a chick, man.
Will just come to a stop once all four tires, if the right rear is deflated as well, it just won't be able to continue to keep going, and it looks like that's what's happening.
Yeah, and now the situation will be, who is this?
Even more is going off the front. That was off the front. So now there's just no.
That was the left.
Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, that was what was left of that left rear tire, obviously, that fell off. And now
I'm gonna say it is. I think Cat's got it. I think his dentures are sliding out.
Themselves up.
Here, here we go.
We have to be really
He's
careful
stopped.
too, because if the suspect did come out and make any sharp, quick movements or reach for their waistband, officers could open fire. But
all right, so aside from the motivation, right? I said that it was a homeless guy who probably on crack or something just jumped in the truck. Aside from me, possibly missing on the motivation, I don't know. This person is that like an Apple Watch or something? I don't know. This person doesn't necessarily look homeless from this. I don't even know if it's a dude or a chick. Anyway, aside from the motivation, which we'll find out later, I've been right. I told you this was going to end with him with the hands out the window and he was just going to stop. This person was not going to get away, because anybody who steals a truck like this is an impulse crime. And impulse crimes always end in, the guy going, fuck, I got no plan, and this. But when they're chasing real criminals, like when they're chasing bangers and when they're chasing home invaders like last night, those people have a plan. And you can beat the helicopter in Los Angeles if you're a good criminal. All right, let's check back in here.
Right now, it looks like the suspect, it almost appears to be a woman to me. I can't really tell, but it looks like their arms are out of the vehicle. Their arms are out of the vehicle, and it appears they're complying with the officer's demands at this point.
What is that? What? Well, no, not excuse me, because I think that could be construed as a proper pronoun. I'm not sure what.
You keep your arms out. At some point in time, it'll be get out of the vehicle, back up to the officers, and face down on the freeway more than likely.
So all the cops with the guns pointed.
Well, the person is also wearing a seatbelt, so they're going to have to actually put their hands at least back in.
They're going to get out with their hands up, and then they'll either drop to their knees or something, and then they'll walk backwards. You'll see. It's a whole thing. It's very...
in the vehicle to take the seatbelt off. So.
All right, this ain't good. Hands are back in. This is how people get shot. Hands are back in. Not good.
I hope that they'll relay that information down. So, yeah. So then they'll...
All right, he's opening the door. We just put something...
Try to navigate there. They do seem to be, again,
phone.
The keys.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
The keys are out, and now the suspect is coming out of the vehicle. It's a pretty tense situation, but it appears, they didn't even know about the seatbelt there. I would stay on that. It appears that they're so distraught here, so upset about what's going on, they didn't know to release these.
Yeah, this is a woman. I think this is a mental situation, and I'll tell you why. Here's another indication. You always know when they've been here before and they know what's coming when they exit the vehicle smoking, because it's like their last cigarette that they're going to get, and they know. Here you go. Walking backwards 10 paces, arms up.
So it is a hard closure until they have.
This is either a woman or a trans person.
Yeah, you can see.
Really, YouTube? Gonna pull this shit on me?
My dad used to wear jeans
those are
all
nice
day,
pants,
even
though.
though they always restricted him. I gifted him these pants and
Look at this demographically targeted bullshit to my old ass. They're like, hey, fatty, you don't like to pull up pants anymore. And look at me, I'm actually engaged. I'm like, those pants look good. I could wear those pants.
he's been obsessed ever since.
All right, we're skipping.
They'll get her in custody. Hopefully they'll be able to get it.
Her, how dare you misgender? Right? What are we supposed to do here? I'm not entirely sure this is a her. Are you? I'm really not. I don't know. It's 2026. You got to be open-minded. I'm just saying, we were looking at some broad shoulders and some pretty nice biceps. Look at them calves. I don't know that we should be calling them her.
Truck up there, get the vehicle out of the way. Not much in the way of traffic heading 14 northbound, but if you are going...
In these cases, people are always like, oh, look for the Adam's apple, right? Isn't that the tried and true thing? That's Adam's apple. Here's my problem with that. Turns out, I don't know what an Adam's apple is. What does everybody... I mean, because I know when someone has a prominent Adam's apple, I can see it. But I've looked at a lot of people who I know are dudes, and they do not have prominent Adam's apples. So I just look at the boobs. I'm like, are those look like real boobs? Or those look like, fake boobs? Because you can tell fake boobs that have been just crammed in. right? Like when a woman gets fake boobs, there's a little bit of room there. You can put them in, and there's a little bit. But when a trans person gets a fake boob, it's just like a dude. It's like a fit dude, and they just slid so and tight, and you can tell. Is my point. You can tell when you're sizing them up.
Going in that direction towards Mojave, maybe going to Bakersfield.
All right. Why's the guy? Is there somebody else?
You're going to be impacted by
that. Is there somebody else in the truck?
We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We have more breaking news regarding a teacher strike. We'll tell you where that is. We also have Sheriff Luna in-house. So
all right. Well, I don't think we have time for any of that stuff. We're doing a show here. All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome in. It is the Rant with me, Pugs Moran. Hi, Nina. Nina is Kat. Just wants to make it clear. All right, let's say hi to the chat room. That's how we start out each and every show here. We look for our pole position. We look for our second place and our third place. We call it the platform. Who's on the platform today? A tricky platform today because the show wasn't at the pre-planned time, which is noon. We're doing it at 1. Had some things come up this morning, and you got to take care of that stuff. First in today, who took first place? Well, it's the Max Verstappen / Lewis Hamilton / Michael Schumacher / Ayrton Senna / however deep you want to go into the history of Formula One, you can name the greats who have always been somehow magically on the podium. Today in first place, it's Taronda. Taronda's on the podium. Look at Barney. Barney right on her heels, man. Oh my God, Barney. She held you off in the final cut. You made your move in the final turn, and she held you off. And then it was a sprint to the finish, and she just had the advantage. It was close. Barney in second, Taronda in first. But third place, it's April. It's Aunt April. The auntie, the OG auntie of the chat room, Aunt April. All right, who else? Bringing in other people, because the top 10 in Formula One get points. So other people receiving points today. How about Jen? How about Adam? How about Nina, who's cosplaying as Kat? Hugh, hi Hugh, good to see you. We're missing some people. Leslie C. We're missing some regs. Well, that's okay. We'll give them time to find us because it is a non-traditional time. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. There's some creepy news that we'll start things off with. A situation occurring out there in Virginia. I don't know if you saw this morning. It was the, hey, good morning, your day's gonna suck news for me. It was the situation in Virginia. The lieutenant governor there, former lieutenant governor, murdered his wife and himself, and the kids were there. The 2 teens were there. It's a dark story. So that'll be the first official thing we talk about before we move on to lesser things. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about, well, actually, no, we won't, but we'll mention some of the desperate measures that the Dems are now trying to do. They're trying to impeach the Fox News fill-in guy. He wasn't even good enough for prime time, and you people made him the Secretary of Defense. No, I'm not calling it war. I'm not playing that. So people are trying to impeach Heggie. Heggie is, we truthers call him. So we'll talk a little bit about that. What else do we have here? Oh, one of the stories that we're going to get into that we're going to really, we're going to dig into because finally it's being taken seriously. And I've told you over the last couple of months, every time one of these things pop up, I'm like, well, isn't this interesting? This person is missing, and he's a scientist, and he's tied directly to UFO and special space programs, and why is he missing? I've been telling you these stories, and you know me, I'm not a QAnon guy, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but, journalism and investigating things and noticing patterns is not conspiratorial. When there is a lack of evidence and you start to extrapolate your own, then they become conspiratorial. But simply going, that doesn't look weird, let's investigate, and then, that doesn't make you a conspiracy theorist. There are a whole bunch of missing scientists and military officials and defense contractor people who have weirdly gone missing in the last year. And most of the big ones, at least the ones that hit the radar, I've brought to your attention. Most notably, we've all been scratching our head about General McCaslin and how weird it was that we stopped talking about him because one of the country's most beloved morning show hosts' mom went missing. Yeah, we're all asking questions about General McCaslin, who went for a hike and left his wallet, phone, and keys at home and has never been seen from again. We were asking questions about that, and then Nancy Guthrie goes missing, and God love her. It's not her fault, but man, now, if the conspiracy theorists want to run with something, go look into why that suddenly made us stop asking about the UFO general going missing. Anyway, it's starting to be a real story now, and in fact, it's got real press are asking the questions now to Carolyn Levitt there in the White House press room, and there's real talk about it now. And look, here's the thing. Here's why it's weird, and here's why I just keep saying, why is this all happening now? Over the past year, 10 people directly tied to these special programs have gone missing in weird ways. Not true. One died. One died very young with no autopsy and no listed cause of death. Just died. So look, again, I'm not Johnny conspiracy theory here, but this is weird, and it is a subset, a genre that I am interested in, which is the whole alien thing. Now, these people are going missing just as there is all of this talk, serious talk, in the halls of the Pentagon and in the halls of Congress. Even in the White House, the president has addressed this. There is serious talk about disclosure, and there is serious talk about, really finally opening up all the black books, all the, what do we call it? What do we do with the Epstein files? Redacted stuff, opening all of that about what we know about not only every, inbred hillbilly going, and then the light appeared in the sky, but what we know about pilots and what we know about generals. And what we know about people who command military bases, who have stories to tell, who, until they tell the story, is thought of as one of the most upstanding members of our military, right? It's always been a problem that people couldn't talk. Well, now we're in a place where people are being allowed to talk. Questions are being answered about all of this stuff. Are we alone? And what is this? And why is everybody saying this? And why suddenly are all these really heretofore thought credible people now speaking about this? Marco Rubio, for crying out loud, the current Secretary of State, is like, yeah, there's stuff that they're apparently not telling us, and I can't even find it out, but we should find it out. So there's a credibility there. And this is coinciding at the same time that all of these people who actually know the truth, who are actually tied to it, are seemingly disappearing. They're getting ready to lie to us, man. They're getting ready to give us a story to either control. Oh my God. Anyway, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about this. It's a real story now. Missing scientists. Why are all of these people missing? And nobody seems to be asking questions except for the weirdo UFO community. Well, now the White House is addressing it, and there is a real investigation. We'll talk about that. Also, some really bummer news. I've been keeping you up to speed on whatever it is that I'm going through these days, whatever it is, whatever kind of foundational life shift in how I am going to be carrying myself these days. So you've been with me for all that, and I appreciate it. And, we've gotten into some talk about faith, stuff that is typically not a subject that we do here on this show. I've always been uncomfortable with it, but for some reason now, in these times, for reasons that, maybe I'll get into, maybe I won't, but I'm finding myself being far more faithful and far more. I'm seeing things, I'm witnessing things. I'm not a weirdo. Micro miracles are what we'll call them. Like things are working out. People are getting better. I am doing. I don't want to get into it. I'm just. Look, the most obvious one, and it's the one that I'm most comfortable discussing, but this idea that I have, this existential miracle that we are witnessing, where in this time, where people like me, who feel like there are no good people speaking for us anymore, the loudest voices that are speaking for me as a person here, the loudest, seem to be the most fucking base and boorish, the least sophisticated, the least elegant, and the least thoughtful. That's how I felt for a while now. And I felt that this was the end of us. And by us, I mean America. The end of American exceptionalism, which is something that I truly believe in. The shining light on the hill. We have made decisions, and I tell you this all the time. We've made decisions in this country, the ones that I don't agree with. We've got terrible schools. We've got terrible health care. We've decided to turn prisons and universities into profit centers, not to mention people who are dying. That's a profit center too. We've made those decisions, and we made those decisions because we decided to be the shining light on the hill, because we've decided to lead the world by example, which is what we've always done, which is why we have the defense budget that we have, which is why we have the military. Again, I can go on, but again, not necessarily decisions back in the day that if I was in any power I would have made. I think I might have come down on the side of healthcare probably back in the 70s. Back then. But we had a Cold War and a nuclear arms race and, you know, all of that stuff. So anyway, Leo, that's it. That's it. That's the miracle. The miracle is that somebody with a platform bigger than Trump has speaks English and is also representing us. And now, at a time when I think the good people of this country have felt abandoned by our leadership and our statesmanship, whether you are Catholic or not, if you are a decent human being, you now have another American who is representing us, who you can say, no, not him, him. And again, look, Catholics, we've been going over this too, the difference between cradle Catholics such as myself, who never had a choice and have been carrying the burden my entire life, regardless of whether or not I have openly been declaring myself a lapsed Catholic. There are still Catholic cornerstones that are implemented that make you the way you are. So despite that, and we've been talking about how that's different than the person who chooses to become a Catholic as a grown adult, you know, it's allowed. We cradle Catholics. There definitely is a caste system, we feel, in the Catholic Church where you don't get to say anything. You don't get to challenge us. You certainly don't get to challenge the Pope, which is why it was so strange to a lot of us cradle Catholics to see J.D. Vance the other day telling the Pope that he shouldn't speak on theology. What do you want, recipes from the Pope? The hell do you think he does, dude? So anyway, I see that as an almost existential, globally, but also a miracle. A miracle we were never supposed to have an American Pope. We're never supposed to have a Pope from Chicago. We're never supposed to have a Pope who is grounded the way that he is and can relate to the average American. No Pope has ever been able to relate to the struggles of an American who is trying to find health care. This guy does. This guy does. And that I see as a miracle. Okay, so whatever. We'll move on from that. I'm going to have some more thoughts later at the end of the show. And again, not preachy shit. Just, you know, this is how I see the world today. And this is where I think I'm most comfortable being tribal, if we must. Which I would prefer we don't. But, you know, Pope Leo's brother's house got a bomb threat yesterday. And John Provost, one of the sweetest, most disarming men, the Pope's older brother. He's a bit of a Chicago celebrity now because obvious reasons. He's the Pope's older brother. And he's just such a sweet man. He's just such a sweet little old man. People are fucking with him. People are fucking with the Pope's brother. A bomb threat. We'll talk about that story as well. And then one other thing that we're definitely going to get to today is a story. I want to make sure we do the missing scientist, and I want to make sure that we do the story of Johnny Somali. You're going to enjoy this. We're going to have fun with Johnny Somali. Johnny Somali is one of these influencers. Johnny Somali is one of these YouTubers. We're going to, trust me, we're going to find out more. But Johnny Somali's whole bit is that he travels the globe to some of the most sacred places, and he does shitty things. And he does shitty things to sacred places for clicks. And because he's funny, he's Johnny Somali. Look, I'm rubbing my balls on this statue dedicated to children of, rape. That's the kind of stuff that he does for clicks. That's why he's famous. 2026, folks. That's why he's famous. Anyway, one country said, yeah, no. Well, what are you fucking American? You think no? So I've got a wonderful story about comeuppance for one incredibly irritating and disrespectful internet troll. Yeah, comeuppance is right. So we'll do all of that stuff. But first, it's something I wanted to talk about because I always like to start the show out with a little bit of nonsense conversation. Well, last night, when I was falling asleep, I like to fall asleep to something, just random, something that's usually educational, like a documentary or some PBS thing or some weird YouTube story about some weird civilization, right? It's just fun stuff to fall asleep to. So last night I stumbled on something, you guys, I had never heard of. And now I am like completely fascinated by this. So do you guys know that in America, and we're going back to when people first got here all the way through, I think maybe the early 1900s or into the 1920s. But there was a unknown race of people that had a significant population in Tennessee. They were known as the Melungeons. Have you ever heard of the Melungeons of Tennessee? It is the wildest story. All right, so let me tell you this story. Okay, so there were these people, when the West started to get settled, they moved, eastward through the Appalachians and into those mountainous areas, and they found these people living there who were fairly European, fairly Western. They weren't primal, they weren't like, savages or anything. There was certainly a difference between this civilization of people living in the mountains of Appalachia. There was something, civilized about them. They certainly weren't Native Americans or anything like that. So when surveyors would go out, they would end up living with these people and hanging out with these people. And every single one of them came back to Boston or Philadelphia, and they would be like, yeah, so how we think, seriously, this was for a long time in America. They'd be like, yeah, so how we think there's white guys and black guys, and then there's Mexican guys, and then there's Arab guys, and then there's Chinamen. How we think that? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, no, there's a whole new one. There's another one. And this is the story of the Melungeons. Now, for years, the Melungeons were, nobody knew what the Melungeons were. And as the country grew, the Melungeons in that area, they were landowners and they became this and that and all that stuff. But still, they were like, what are you? You'd look at them and go, what are you? So anyway, they were deemed to be not white, and everything was taken away from them. Everything. Hundreds of years of their land and everything, because, it was well, you're not black, and you're not Arab, and so they didn't know what they were, and so they were just classified as people of color. So people of color weren't allowed to own land and all that. So the Melungeons got everything taken away from them, and they kind of just spread out and then just disappeared. But we do know now through genealogy and all that what the Melungeons were. They weren't a totally unique race. What they were was a very large population of absolute American colonial mutts. They were everything. They started out as a community when a bunch of Portuguese sailors got shipwrecked off the coast of North Carolina, and there was apparently a rift in the colony. And, oh, by the way, they also claim to go all the way back to the Roanoke colony, which is probably true as well. But this particular Melungeon branch started out as Portuguese sailors who then married Indians and black slaves. And anyway, whatever it was, over the course of time. Oh, and Turks. The freaking Turks got involved. And the Turkish people, suddenly, there was this Turkish kind of vibe to them. So anyway, the Melungeons, it turned out they were just mutts. They were just everything. And because they were everything, in the very early days of America, they were never comfortable in any community. Like if they were in a Native American community, they were like, no, they were too white, too English, whatever for the Native Americans. When they were in if they were in colonial Boston, you're not black, but you're not one of us, it's that they never felt anywhere. So over the course of time, they kind of drifted to this one area where all of these people and those people were secluded for like 100 years. And all they did was interbreed and so it's just this weird, it took shape as a different race. Now, I was interested in learning, so is there any remnants of the Melungeons? Are there are there any celebrities who have Melungeon backgrounds? And guess what they do? They do. Not only are there celebrities who have Melungeon in their background, but there are the biggest American celebrity of all time, Elvis Presley, is Melungeon. Oh my God! It says here his maternal great grandmother was Mourning Dove White, one of the original families of Cherokee and Melungeon ancestry. Elvis Presley was Melungeon. Here, wait a second. Actually, I'll show you some pictures. Yeah, that's what I should do. I should show you pictures, right? Because what are we doing? What are you talking about, Pugs? A different race? I should have had this picture up the whole time. So here are some classic pictures of Melungeons. Also, it is believed that it is where the word mulatto might come from. Melungeons. All right, so here. So here's pictures of some Melungeons. All right, they don't look all that weird. Well, I mean, those are just black kids. Those are just... All right, here you go. Yes, this is the Melungeon. This is what Melungeons look like. This is from the thing that I watched last night. I saw this picture last night. So the hair is weird. It's almost like Chinese. Like they had like straight Chinese hair. This guy looks straight up Turkish. This guy looks straight up, his name is Amir, All right, let's keep going. Well, if that's Melungeon, then sign me up. Okay. And they say that they have weird features like long faces and big foreheads. Aliens. People also say that the Melungeons are aliens. They have like alien blood in them. That's why their heads are sometimes misshapen like this woman. See how her head? That might just be inbreeding though. It doesn't, we don't have to assign it to whatever. Oh yeah, look at these two. Oh my God. You're not black, but you're not. Imagine you're a bigot in 1790. You have no idea. Poor colonial bigots. What's this? Hidden in the Appalachian Mountains was a community that puzzled historians for centuries, of people whose roots crossed continents, whose story is only now being fully understood. And I think I watched that documentary last night, and it was really interesting. The Melungeons. All right, so Elvis Presley's Melungeon. He's one of these spooky, weird people from the mountains that time has forgotten. Who else? All right, so would you be surprised to learn that Tom Hanks has Melungeon roots? Tom Hanks, ancestral Melungeon. Could explain the kinky hair. Could explain I'm just pouty lips, right? He's got those romantic, kissable I'm just saying, Tom Hanks lips. Not Tom Hanks now. I mean, he's like 75. I'm talking like, 1985 Tom Hanks when he was making out with Meg Ryan. He was pretty. Anyway, Melungeon. George Clooney. Oh, hillbilly Kentucky George Clooney got himself some Melungeon looks. Now look at George Clooney. What's going on there, right? The dark eyes. You don't know what Clooney is. That's an Irish last name. Clooney is walking around here like, I'm Irish. That is, he might be, culturally Irish. I don't know. But he ain't. He's got George Clooney. George Clooney's Melungeon. Got something weird going on. Let's see. Who else? Okay. You want to go all the way back? Ava Gardner. Ava Gardner, the legendary Hollywood actress from the 1940s and 50s, is frequently mentioned as a notable Melungeon in Hollywood. That sounds like something that was written in 1950 that you can't say anymore. Well, somebody call that Melungeon actress. it's not, it's not, I mean, there was nothing obviously profane or it's just a word that was used to characterize these people. A couple other famous names that are frequently cited as having genealogical ties to the Melungeon community. Now, this one I don't get because it certainly isn't obvious, but how about Heather Locklear? Heather Locklear's got some Melungeon blood in her. Steve Martin. Steve Martin is often linked to the group through his family's history in the southern U.S. Steve Martin. And then this guy, this is probably a no-brainer. Bill Monroe, the grandfather, the father, the pope, if you will, of bluegrass in America. Bluegrass, bang, bang, lang, 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 I'm Melungeon. That's him. Anyway, that's what I did last night. It was fun. I learned about the Melungeons, and they had disappeared. They were believed to be a race, but nobody did the legwork on really figuring out what race. Turned out they weren't a race. They were just a bunch of people who were all interbred with, all the different races who didn't feel comfortable in any one community, so they all came together in the hills. And then people were like, what are you guys? You guys ain't Mexicans. All right. Let's say hi to the chat room. We already did that. Anybody got any comments on my little Melungeon rant? Adam says at least bigots back then didn't know any better. Today's bigots invent things like crony capitalism. Barney's in the chat room. He says that story would be better if they had caning as a punishment. Is that about the Melungeons, or is that about the troll, the Twitter and Instagram and TikTok troll we're going to talk about? Could apply to both. All right, let's see here. What's the first thing that we're going to talk about today? Let's get into, we did that. All right, dark, sad story. There was a horrible situation in Virginia this morning. The former lieutenant governor, a guy who was once, one of the Dems' leading boys. I mean, not in 10 years.
Justin Fairfax. According to Al Jazeera,
right.
U.S. officials believe the
Al
shooting
Jazeera.
related to the Democratic politician's ongoing divorce with Serena Fairfax, a dentist. Virginia's former lieutenant governor, Justin Fairfax, has shot and killed his wife before taking his own life in an apparent murder-suicide, according to authorities in the United States.
All right, well, thank you. I honestly don't think I didn't intend for that to happen. I don't think we need to do this story anymore. I was like, I don't want to talk about this story, but okay, there it is, and they did it, and now we can move on. The House Dems are filing articles of impeachment against Hegseth. It's not going to go anywhere. I mean, look, just shut up, man. Just shut up. We all know what he is, all right? We just got to ride this out. Will you stop with this petty bullshit, okay? This performative nonsense designed so that you can go to a Waffle House fundraiser in your home district next weekend and go, I'm trying. Just stop it, man. Let the world court do their job, okay, Democrats? Because I'm tired of you guys acting like you're going to somehow fix everything. You're not. Thank you. House Dems file articles of impeachment against Pete Hegseth. The guy, look, we all know what's going on there. He's terrible at his job. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he's only there because he riles up the hillbillies with alpha bullshit. That's it. Let's ride this out. All right, now let's talk about the missing scientists. All right, this is how we get into the stories that I want to talk about, okay? The missing scientists. Yesterday, Carolyn Leavitt was directly asked in the White House press briefing room about why have you guys not commented on any of this? The White House has not. You guys have opinions on everything. Why have you not commented on this? And, Carolyn Leavitt did the whole hamina. We're going to look into it, hamina. And then another reporter was like, yeah, and what about this? And then she's like, hamina. Anyway, they're going to look into it. They say they're going to look into it. The good news is that the White House press room is now asking questions about it. Because, folks, it's weird. It is weird. Hold on. There's my kid. Gotta stop everything. Oh, jeez. My kid doesn't even know my kid doesn't even know. I'm like, jeez, kid. All right, hold on. He should be. He's in school. I would think. Hold on, guys. You know how it is. You're a parent. You just gotta, especially when you're a parent rattled with guilt. Do you have Disney Plus? Looking to watch Daredevil if I can. Okay. All right. Well, not yes and not right. All right. I'm just going to tell him. Make him feel bad. This will make him feel. This is good. It's a micro pushback. I just sent recording. All right, I'll get you your Disney, but you shouldn't be watching it right now anyway because you're supposed to be in class. So this, I am assuming, is something for later tonight, and we'll get it handled. Maybe if you knew anything about your dad, you might pull this up right now on YouTube. Come in the chat room, and we can have this out like gentlemen. No, don't do that. No, go to school. Stay in. Don't. Never mind. Don't do this. You're probably in a class. Did all that just voice? Did I just send all of that via voice? No. Oh, God. Thank God. All right. Back to the really important story of these missing scientists and military officials who nobody is asking questions about because we all got distracted with the whole Nancy Guthrie thing. See, here's what the Nancy Guthrie thing did. The Nancy Guthrie thing normalized the idea of people going away and then all of us going, guess we're not going to find them. Think about it. That's exactly what Nancy Guthrie did. I mean, they tried to do it with the whole, Malaysian airliner. They're like, let's just make it so they can never question anything because the weirdest thing will happen. An entire airplane of people will just disappear and we'll never give them answers. And then they'll just be like, over time, well, I guess there just aren't answers for some things. That's the play with the Malaysian airliner. Wormhole. Are you really? People are like, God, fell in a wormhole. Serious people are actually now going, it fell into a wormhole. By the way, don't get it twisted. They never found that thing. Right? Half the people I think are walking around going, oh yeah, didn't they find it? Didn't it wash up? Not like a chunk of steel washed up somewhere. And they're pretty sure it might be a part of the plane. It's like that kind of thing. That hole, we know where it is. It's there. No, show it to us. Well, we can't. Something weird happened with that damn airplane, that Malaysian jetliner. So that was an attempt to normalize it. Nancy Guthrie, see, there's some big... Okay, all right, you know what? Let's do it. Why not? Let's have some fun. This is a stream of consciousness. Let me riff. Let me go full conspiracy hat here, okay? So here's what was going on. We had all these missing scientists. We were disappearing them for reasons, I don't know. Maybe that's its own podcast. But these people, these important people, all with ties to America's most top secret military, space, and, you guessed it, UFO programs, suddenly over the course of the last year have been missing. Where'd they go? Are you kidding me? That is the second JPL a rocket dude who has gone hiking and never came back in the last 6 months. I mean, that seems to be a thing. A lot of these people are just walking off into the woods. So are you ready? These are the people who are already friends with the aliens. These are the people who have been working on these things. The aliens know them and shit's about to go down. And the aliens let their buddies know and said, look, you guys want to come up here before it goes down? Because it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. And that is the crazy conspiracy theory as to what's happening. All of these people with these deep ties to these programs have been disappearing, and some people want us to believe, and I'm game. Some people want us to believe that they have been, quote unquote, evacuated because they're already friends with the aliens. Now, that's a fun one. That's a crazy story. There are a whole bunch of other really sinister aspects to it, like the one that I think, if we're going to go down a fun little rabbit hole of what ifs, the one that I actually think is more likely is that I think it has everything to do with the disclosure movement. I think it has everything to do with the hearings on the Hill. I think it has everything to do with the former, defense secretary of the United States saying, yeah, we need to talk about it. I think it has everything to do with the current secretary of state, Marco Rubio, saying, no, yeah. It has everything. I think it's tied in with that. I think that we are being prepped at the government. Remember, I have no faith in institutions anymore. we've been clocking this. I've been knocking them down as they go, right? New York Times, no. Supreme Court, no. Congress, no. Pentagon, no. White House briefing room, no. President of the United States, no. Vice President, no. None of these institutions mean anything to me anymore. So should this particular government start working an op, which I feel like is happening, the slow roll of little acceptance, the normalization of UFO talk, and then finally, okay, you got us. We're not going to give you the Epstein stuff, but we got something bigger. So I think that whatever the disclosure movement is going to show us with this sudden governmental cooperation, I'm going to need a lot of that cross-checked with some of our European nations. I'm going to need, when the United States reveals their UFO stuff, I'm just telling you, France had better be on board with what they say. And the same goes for Germany, because those are two other countries who very high-ranking officials have been talking about this subject a lot longer than we have in America. So, okay. So I do think that we might be normalizing the conversation. You're not crazy anymore, because look, Marco Rubio says we're normalizing the conversation. We are prepping people for an announcement. Trump even tweeted, or truthed, whatever you want to call it, like a couple months ago. He was like, I got some alien information, or whatever it was. Like, he was interested now in this subject. War's not working. War is not working. Maybe telling the world, maybe the president going, there are aliens, and he does this official thing. Maybe that will get people to stop talking about Epstein. Who knows? Maybe. I don't know what this man is thinking about. I don't know. I don't believe that he's senile. You're hearing that. He's brain addled. No, I think he's always been. I think he's just this. I think this is what he's always been. Don't try and excuse your lack of judgment by now saying he's changed. No, he hasn't. He's always been this guy. He's been this guy since the 90s. How do you not clock this? So I wouldn't put it past him, to like this would be the biggest acknowledgement in the history of man, that humans are not alone. And would I put it past the president of the United States to use that as some kind of a leverage to get everybody talking about something else? No. Which is why I, as a lifelong UFO enthusiast, am kind of looking at all of this disclosure talk with a bit of, all right, I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to see what this is, and we're going to see who agrees, and then we're going to listen to. But this is happening at the same time that all of these people who theoretically would know the truth are disappearing. See, that's a connection. That's a connection I'm not really seeing anywhere. And it seems real obvious to me that if the initial contention is that you believe that humanity is being braced and prepped for an announcement, probably being led by the United States, Donald Trump. If you believe this contention that humanity is being prepped, and then for whatever reasons he's motivated by, again, I don't have a trust in the institution, but it's another conversation. If the contention is that you believe that we are being prepped for something, then wouldn't the people who are going to lie to you want the people who know the truth to not be around? To not be able to appear on Anderson Cooper the day that the fucking announcement is made? To be able to go, well, none of that is true. I've been working on this, and here's the actual truth. I don't know what they're. Don't you think it would be in the best interest of the puppet masters to have anybody that could call bullshit on what their official announcement is? Would be hard to reach for comment? I don't know. That's what I think is more likely, because I don't believe in coincidences of this magnitude. So let's get into this story. I'll tell you exactly about the people who actually are missing. Let's see. There are so many stories about this today because, again, it was thrown at the Carolyn Levitt. So let's go. Which one has the best? Oh, this one looks good. This is the dumb one. All right, whatever. We're gonna go with the Mirror, Metro UK. Because first of all, I'll read half the New York Times, and then a pop-up window will go, do you want to pay to read the rest of it? So screw that. If I got to read like British daily newspapers to get stories for free, I'm fine with that. All right, so here we go. Here's the story. and we'll have a conversation about this. The White House has said the government will now look into the strings of deaths and disappearance of high-profile nuclear and space scientists. Since 2023, 10 people linked to top-secret space, nuclear, and UAE research, that's unidentified aerial UAE phenomena. That's what it is. Anyway, since 2023, 10 of these people have gone missing. Let's see, research in the U.S. Who have led the research on these subjects in the U.S. have either died or vanished. Yesterday, for the first time, White House Press Secretary Karen Leavitt was asked about the concerning pattern. She said, "I haven't spoken to our relevant agencies about it, but I certainly will do that and will get you an answer as soon as possible," Leavitt replied. If true, of course, that's definitely something I think this government and our administration would deem worth looking into. So let me do that for you. Now, this is another, please, guys, again, look at me. This is another, that's a little trick there. She absolutely wants to get to the bottom of this. That is exactly what the mouthpiece of somebody who is orchestrating some kind of big lie announcement would want. That's a really good point. Let me look into that. If true, of course, she says, if true, of course, that's definitely something I think this government and administration would deem worth looking into. So let me do that, because we're actually looking for anything that's creepy and weird, and we'll get the stupid's attention off of Epstein and the war in Iran and gas prices. We're looking for any kind of distraction at that point. It says here, after years of no answers from the government, Leavitt's reply wasn't enough. Let's see. One reporter shot back. This is what I told you. A bunch of reporters started going blah, blah, blah. One reporter shot back at Leavitt. Does that infer that they're not looking into it now, for crying out loud? There was a general involved, one reporter added. So the reporters are like, you got missing top secret generals and you guys aren't even looking into it? Of course, unless they're not looking into it because they know why he's missing, because they're keeping him in a cell in Guantanamo until they make the announcement that they want all of the rubes to believe. All right. So here's some pictures of them. Here, we'll just scroll through. Why not? Yeah, we'll show you the pictures. There's a whole bunch of them. They all look like very dangerous individuals. They all look healthy. Some of them are just dropping dead. No autopsy, no reason or cause of death on the death certificate. Just 37 totally healthy, found dead. We're not going to look into it. Why would we? No reason for that. There's McCaslin. That's McCaslin on the right, the general. He's the one that really, all the rest of them were just JPL lab scientists and researchers and, people of that sort of level. But General McCaslin was the guy who was in charge of all of them. And when McCaslin went missing, right around the same time as Nancy Guthrie, when McCaslin went missing, initially we talked about it here. I'm like, hey, this is kind of a big deal. But then there was absolutely no. Why? Because the FBI and all the missing people, they were all on the Nancy Guthrie case. The top secret guy who knows everything about the magic of the world. He doesn't rate. Because they're going to go look for Nancy Guthrie. I don't know. It's just all so weird. Maybe I am a conspiracy. Maybe I am. Maybe this world is turning me into a conspiracy theorist. All right, here. Let me get back to the story. So I think you guys are looking at pictures. I'm not on the page right now. I had to jump off. Missing scientists. All right, there we go. All right, let me tell you about who we're looking at right here. As I said, the guy in the military uniform, look, I guess they got names there, so I guess maybe you can read the names. Or maybe you can't. God, I got too many windows open. I'm sorry. All right, so we got Carl Gilmar. All right, he's a JPL guy, Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Then you got William McCaslin. He's in charge of everything. We got Melissa Cassius. We told you about her because after McCaslin went missing, it was revealed in a follow-up story that his very close associate, his link to the scientific community was this woman, and she went for a hike and never came back. So did he. He went for a hike and never came back. Nuno Lorio. This is the guy that died. This unhealthy son of a bitch. He was just found dead. They didn't do an autopsy. They just went, is he dead? Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. All right, just put that down. What caused it? I don't know. Death. Cause of death. Death. No questions asked for old Nuno. Melissa disappeared while hiking, and Nuno, I'm sorry, this guy was shot dead. That's right, one guy was shot dead. I apologize, I don't want to misrepresent. Sorry. It says here, General McCaslin, a retired Air Force general, vanished in late February after leading secret programs at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base for decades. The base is focused on space, defense, and unidentified. See, why they word it differently? The official is okay? It's unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP. It's not UFO anymore. It's unidentified aerial phenomena. Anyway, that's what McCaslin was in charge of. It's what the base is focused on. General McCaslin isn't the only mysterious disappearance or death. Michael David Hicks, a research scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, passed away in July of 2023 with no autopsy and no cause of death listed. 2 others have died that have ties to Jet Propulsion Laboratory and McCaslin's Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Frank Maywald, who died in July of 2024 with no cause of death or autopsy. Oh, did I just give you that one? Oh, my God. No, I'm sorry. There are two young Jet Propulsion Laboratory scientists who within the last 2.5 years have died with no cause of death recorded. The first one, Michael David Hicks, a research scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, passed away in July of 2023 with no autopsy or cause of death recorded. 2 others who had ties to NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory died recently as well, including Frank Maywald, who died in July of 2024 with no cause of death or autopsy given. These aren't old people. We're going to look at the pictures here. Carl Grillmar was another astrophysicist who was supported by NASA's JPL. He's believed to have been found a planet. Wait, he is. Oh, yeah, that's right. This guy. This is the guy that found the planet. This is like a guy who made one of the biggest planetary discoveries of the last few years is missing. He identified and found a new planet that is believed to have water. Something, by the way, which should have been earth-shattering news in and of itself, but I don't know. Was the Kardashians new that week? 2 others who had ties to NASA's JPL lab died recently, as well as including Frank Maywald, who died in July 2024 with no cause of death or autopsy given. Carl Grillmar was another astrophysicist who was supported by NASA's JPL. He's believed to have found a planet with water before he was shot and killed in a suspected burglary attempt in California. Just random crime. No need to investigate. We'll never find that guy. You know how many people get mugged and would just... Anyway, let's see here. Anthony Chavez and Melissa Cathius both worked at Los Alamos as well as JPL and were seen leaving their homes in New Mexico on foot before disappearing without a trace just weeks apart in 2025. So Melissa is the one with direct ties to McCaslin. Anthony worked directly with Melissa. Okay, so it's like, McCaslin's really big, and McCaslin's what would they call that? It's a French word, liaison, right? So McCaslin's really big with all the secrets about space. His liaison to the scientific community that is not based there at Wright-Patterson is Melissa Cassius. Melissa Cassius, that's a pretty big job. She also has an assistant. That assistant's name is Anthony Chavez. Melissa and Anthony, who worked together under McCaslin, both went hiking a week apart and both went missing. We're asking questions now, but man, there was nothing. This is, look, you can fact check all of this. You do it with AI. This story's real. this story is authentically intriguing and should be curious to anybody with an investigative mindset, because there is something weird happening here. Let's see. Any more pictures? I guess there's not any more pictures. Those are just the 4 pictures that we're going to have here. Nuno Lauriero. That's the guy we're looking at. Nuno. I think Nuno's the one. Nuno is the one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I've been scrolling this whole time. That sucks. What an asshole I turned out to be. All right. All right. So there's Nuno right here. Nuno, it says about Nuno's death. Where is it, Austin? Okay, Nuno Lauriero's murder spoke to international headlines after the MIT professor was shot in his bed in his Boston home. He had been working on nuclear fusion. This is the guy. That's the guy just a couple of months ago, like around Christmas. Do you remember this? I think it was around that time. I don't know. I'm picturing it. But it was a really weird thing. It was like a murder of this like really prominent guy who... Nuclear fusion. That's how we're going to get to that planet that was discovered by the other guy. So anyway, he's the Italian guy. He was working there at MIT. Nuno Lauriero. He is the MIT professor who was shot dead in his home. He had been working on nuclear fusion. Jason Thomas, another one, worked in pharmaceutical research, testing cancer treatments and the space program. So like trying to cure cancer. Oh, I bet you the pharmaceutical companies don't want that bullshit getting out. Hey, you can cure cancer in space. It's a thing. Well, who knows? I'm just saying. So he's dead. Let's see. Also, we got Monica Jacinta Reza. Oh, another one who disappeared while hiking. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just off the top of my head in this group, who just went for a walk and never came back. And then the beams, and then they go, I'm going home to my home. That's what happened, folks. McCaslin left his wallet, his phone, and his keys and just went into the fucking desert. Hey, you know what? If you people don't believe me, fine. I'm just reading what... I've been tracking this for a while, too. This is weird. And now the government... Yes, we will look into that. All right, that's all. We can end it with that. I think that stuff's great, man. That's fun. Here, Maddie says, I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that the Brown University shooting is tied to at least one of those missing folks. Well, I'm not going to pretend I haven't fallen down every little bunny hole about these cases or the 10 as they're being named now, and those are the 10 that all seem to be. Here's the link. Not all of them work as directly as Monica and McCaslin did, okay? But they all worked and had access on programs that are top secret and all in the same relative area. All. A guy who discovered a planet that has water that could be, if we could get there, maybe if we had nuclear fusion, we can get there. And then the guy who has nuclear fusion, working on it, he disappears. The general who's in charge of all of it, he disappears. The liaison to the scientific community that McCaslin uses, Monica Cassius, she disappears, and so does her assistant. And Monica and the assistant go missing a week apart the same way? Don't worry, Carolyn Levitt's on it. She's on it. She's like, that's interesting. As she's leaving the podium, a reporter yells, he's a general. There's a general missing, and this is news to you? Barney says, nah, it just means the Mormons are right. What are the Mormons right? The Mormons got a bit of that space thing in their thing, right? I think I need to look into that. I will say this. There are some, if anything, I'll be Catholic. But I'll tell you this. There are some things I find very appealing about the Mormons. Very appealing. First of all, my God, Utah, could you be in a more beautiful place? Let's go. Let's go move to Utah. It's gorgeous. Speaking of the women, that would be probably the primary driver of me becoming a Mormon. What is happening there? What? You ever seen an ugly Mormon girl? No, you haven't. No, you haven't. You know what you've seen? Maybe you've seen some extreme version of Mormon where they wear bonnets and no makeup and all that. And you've been like, well, she's not attractive. And I'll point out, bitch, she's 5'11", blonde with blue eyes. You put some makeup on her. What? Mormon girls, they're like Israeli girls. I'm not saying I've never seen an ugly Jewish girl. I've seen a lot of ugly Jewish girls. I'll tell you what I haven't seen. I've never seen an ugly Israeli. I've never seen an ugly Israeli woman. They are, I mean, let's say under 30. There you go. Because, you know, I've seen some, you know, babushka wearing, you know, Israeli women. That... Point is this. Point is nothing. Mike D is in the chat room. Mike D says, my close friend bought a second home in Park City, Utah. That's like the coolest part of Utah, too. That's where it's like, you're Mormon, but also movies and Redford and Sundance. And my close friend bought a second home in Park City. They love it out there. The only thing that has been negative was the mountain lion dragging a deer up into the tree. Yeah, I guess that would be a problem for me because I'm the guy that's never moving to Florida because I refuse to normalize the presence of crocodiles and alligators. I'm just not going to normalize. That's not normal. Hey, if you're walking the dog, make sure you don't go down that cul-de-sac. There's gators been saying, fuck you. What? This is how you people live? I always tell the story about my friend in Wisconsin who I was talking to for like 45 minutes. And he goes, okay, it's time for me to go. And I go, what's going on? And he goes, this whole time a bear has been in my driveway and I've been just sitting in my driveway talking to you. And I go, you live in a house where, you know, you have to look around before you get out of your car because there might be a bear lurking? And he's like, it's Wisconsin. And I'm like, no, thank you. No, thank you. Texas, in Dallas. I lived over by, you know where Ross Perot's company is there in Plano, Legacy Village. I lived in Legacy Village. And there was like, I used to walk my dog, you know, it's a very nice apartment community, townhomes and ones. Very gorgeous. I loved it there. My favorite place that I ever lived. Anyway, point being, I would walk my dog and they would put up signs. Caution, venomous snake. Like, and I'd never experienced that anywhere else in North Texas. But I'm like, wait a second. I am living in a neighborhood where I have to make sure and watch where my dog sniffs and where my dogs go because there might be like a rattlesnake or something in there. This is preposterous. Then I tell that story to my friends in Texas and they're like, didn't you grow up on the south side of Chicago? I'm like, yeah. He's like, trust me, I'm more afraid of gangbangers. I'm like, eh. No, because there's you know, you can avoid and on some level maybe be able to barter with a gangbanger. I can't do that with a rattlesnake who just bit my dog in the eye. This is insane. So yeah, Park City's probably nice, but I guess the deal breaker for me would be the mountain lions. What's that you say about mountain lions? Oh, it's beautiful. You can sit on your back deck and they'll come right up to your back window. No, they won't. No, they won't. That's not a thing that I'm about. Maddie probably knows. Maddie's all got the gator and bear thing. You got bears down there in Louisiana? They got bears? They can't have big bears. They're big bears. Not big bears. Not like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Dakota, Montana bears. You know, the ones that are up there on the Canadian. You got bears? I wouldn't think bears. I guess they got bears in Florida, right? They got like swamp bears and shit like that. Anyway, I ain't moving to Florida. There's too much nonsense going on down there. And we haven't even talked about the humans. We're just talking about the wildlife. Not interested. Seriously, I'll take my chances. Southern California. Let's go. Southern California, just put me on a beach. Oh, what? You're afraid of bears and gators, but you're not afraid of sliding into the ocean. No, I'm not. Let's go. Let's slide right in. Now that's a way to go. That's a way to go in a memorable, apocalyptic, cataclysmic disaster. Not some doofus who forgot to look around while he was taking the garbage out and got mauled to death by a bear. That's no way to go. All right, it is a way to go. It's break time. Let me take a break, okay? I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to give myself a hot cup of coffee. And when we come back, we're going to get into a whole bunch of new stuff. We can talk about Pope Leo's brother and shit that's going on there. You got people fucking with Johnny Prevost. And we ain't having it. We ain't having it. Rally around Johnny Prevost. I'll tell you about a YouTube TikTok troll who what's that they say? What is it? The kids? What is that? What is that? Fuck around and find out. Yeah, really good. I mean, it's so rewarding too, because these people. We see them on TikTok and YouTube, and they're driving around. They all got Lamborghinis and Rolexes, and their whole bit is that while you're at the mall, they run up to you and go, "I hate you" or whatever. And then they're like super rich off this talent because literally we're an idiocracy now. They have mainlined us into the dopamine, and they have figured out how to give it to us whenever we want it, and it's just by scrolling. Never had that before. They can control us that way. Anyway, we'll talk about that guy. We'll get into that story. We got some other things too. We got a bunch of stuff we'll get into. Let me take a break. Let me go to the bathroom. Let me get a hot cup of coffee. We will return. Give me about 5 minutes, okay? Is that a deal? Deal? Good job. Back after this. All right, we're back. Welcome back. Oh. Look at that timing. Oh. Hold on. Sorry, I should have done this before I signed back in. It's my kid. He's been texting me. Doesn't care that I'm recording because he's my kid. He don't give a shit. That ain't paying for college, Dad. I don't give a shit. You need to listen to everybody else and stop doing it. So I told you he's looking for a Disney pass. He's going to sign into Disney because he wants to watch Daredevil. So, I'm thinking, you're texting me this at 1:50 in the afternoon, my 16-year-old son. You're supposed to be in school. What are you doing? First. And I decided that I was going to guilt him by not knowing that I'm recording and live stream at this time every day. I sent back, recording? Like, how dare you? And he just sent back, with a question mark. Like, oh, stop it, Dad. Oh, stop playing, Dad. All right. Anyway, he can wait. He can absolutely wait. Don't need that. I'll get him the Disney pass if we have. I don't know. Look, I don't watch Disney. Daredevil, not my thing. He's into it. That's great. You can probably Hulu, right? Can't you access Disney through Hulu? Isn't there a Disney Hulu bundle? I'm pretty sure I got that. I'm pretty sure we got that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right, welcome back. Thank you. This is the second half of today's show, which is pretty promising because I still got a lot of stuff to do, and we've already been doing this for an hour and a half. So, got a big show for you. Look at that. We told you about the missing scientists. We told you about the Melungeons. We learned about the Melungeons of Tennessee, the things that you learn here on this show. And now I'm going to tell you about something really sad that's happening in my neck of the woods. In fact, just one town over from where I lay my head every night. Sad story about what's going on with John Prevost. John Prevost is the older brother of Pope Leo. By all accounts, an absolutely wonderful man, a family man, a retired man. He's got kids. He comes from a really good family. I mean, and when I say a really good family, literally one of the children became Pope. So, and in the Catholic tradition, that doesn't mean that they came from money. That means that they're real Catholics, working class. Dad was a steel mill guy, American ethics, the Cold War sensibility, all of that stuff. Here, maybe I'll show you, John. Let me show you this before, because this will be probably better for the education here. Actually, maybe we'll show you both of them. There are two brothers. There is John and Louis. John and Louis Prevost are Robert Prevost's brother. Robert Prevost is Pope Leo, Father Bob, for those of us who, they're both older. One brother, and this is important, you need to put a little flag in this for the conversation as it evolves. One of the brothers still lives where they've always lived, which is here on the south side, south suburbs of Chicago. That would be John. It's the guy we're going to talk about. John. Louis Prevost lives down in Florida in the Villages. Okay? So two separate brothers. One brother lives in New Lenox, which is a south suburb in Chicago, same area where the Pope grew up and all that stuff, never left. And then there's another brother who just moved to Florida in retirement, which is totally normal. So that's Louis. This story that we're going to tell you about concerns John. Do we have a story? Oh, wait. Oh, I didn't even know that there was. Okay, I wasn't prepared to have a story, but here, let's see this. Here's the story.
A bomb threat.
Hold on. Let me see how they do this. Let me see if they do John justice. This is essentially the story, so at least we'll get the facts here. All right, here we go.
Hitting close to home for Pope Leo XIV. Illinois police saying there was a bomb threat Wednesday at a house belonging to the Pope's older brother. Local police say the threat ended up being unsubstantiated. According to authorities, there were no injuries, and the residents of the area outside of Chicago are back in their homes after temporarily being evacuated. The threat comes after a week of public tension between Pope Leo and President Trump over the U.S.'s war with Iran. This morning, the Pope warned the world is being ravaged by, quote, tyrants, following repeated calls for peace.
The masters of war pretend not to know that it takes only a moment to destroy. Yet often, a lifetime is often not enough to rebuild. They turn a blind eye to the fact that billions of dollars are spent on killing, on devastation.
Yesterday, Vice President J.D. Vance, a convert to
Horrible shit.
Catholicism, called out the Pope's comments on the war.
In the same way that it's important for the Vice President of the United States to be careful when I talk about matters of public policy, I think it's very, very important for the Pope to be careful when he talks about matters of theology.
And President Trump has called Pope Leo, quote, weak on crime and terrible on foreign policy. Iran and the U.S. are in the second week of a 2-week ceasefire. A second round of peace talks between
All
the
right,
two
I don't know what
countries
that was.
has not
We
been
just
scheduled.
looked at that sight on scene that seems to come to us from the Hill. There's got to be something more. There's got to be a local story, I would think. Hold on. Or at least, something. I want you to see this guy because I'm going to tell you some stories about what's being reported about what this poor guy is going through. Now, it's not that he can't walk anywhere. It's just individuals are coming from outside the community driven by this MAGA weirdness. He was apparently heckled at a Jewel food store. The Pope's brother in one of the most Catholic areas. What are these people coming in from Indiana? Are they driving the 20 minutes down 80 from a fucking MAGA red state to give the Pope's little or big brother shit while he tries to buy deli meat? Here, let me see. There's got to be this whole. What is this? Fox 32. All right, here's John.
Right,
here he is. All right, here.
Yay.
Let's watch this.
Good to see you again.
We'll just check this out for a
So
minute. So you get an
appreciate it.
idea
Thank
who this guy is and what an
All
evil
right,
monster he
John.
is.
And Father Ray, you got to tell us
That's
what
John.
his life's been like since May 8th.
You can go first. I'll follow from here.
Well, it's been an incredible experience. Today is 3 months that he was elected Pope. Yesterday was
All right,
a year of celebrating Mass.
With all due respect, Father.
Tell us, John, what about your life?
All right, so this is John. This is the guy who in the last week people are giving shit to, called it a bomb threat last night on his house in a beautiful little suburb there outside of Chicago. Everybody on the block had to get up, get out, re-evacuate. They were outside. The whole place was quarantined for like 12 hours because his brother. I mean, my God. All right, so let's see what an evil piece of shit, aggressive alpha this guy is. Seriously, this dude has become, kind of somebody who's known here in Chicago because of his brother. And he's just such a wonderful, soft-spoken guy. He doesn't deserve this shit. Why are we so mean?
That's nonstop. People know who I am when they see me. They seem to think I look like him.
You do.
Might be a family resemblance. So it's been nonstop. It's been some of it good, some of it kind of sad. A lot of it unexpected. But I no longer answer the phone unless I know who it is. They have to.
We're Phoenix, a family-owned oil company focused on unleashing American oil.
At some
North
point,
Dakota
folks,
and
I will
Montana.
pay to not have
We've
commercials
already
anymore
sold
on
over
YouTube, but
2.9
that time
million
is not
barrels.
today.
Explain who they are or why they're calling if I'm going to talk to them, because it's just things that I really can't help with, but I don't want to deal with it. It's a lot of
Say
that.
sad. What?
Well, there was a group of people who came to talk to me with a petition, and would I talk to the Pope about letting their church stay open? I can't do anything about that, and it is sad because they came all this way from North Chicago because their faith is to keep, pray to keep this church open. I can't help you with that. So all I can do is say to them that, yes, I will get this letter to the Pope, but more than that, I cannot do.
But he's going to get the letter to the Pope anyway. I mean, that's, God, he's doing all they could possibly want, and he's still racked with guilt for not being that's a good person. That's a thoughtful, conscientious person. And you can see the kind of tree that the Pope comes from. Here we go.
I get letters almost daily to please have your brother pray for my son who's got a debilitating disease. We've tried, we're looking for a miracle. Those things are sad. For as most as I can, I do let my brother know that these people called. So he can pray, and so they are getting the papal prayers. But things like that are sad to me.
It can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
I
mean, could you imagine?
You obviously didn't prepare.
Correct.
Oh, God.
Right.
I mean, just imagine that you are a sweet, loving, caring person who actually has empathy for other people, somebody who has been absolutely indoctrinated from birth into this Catholic way of seeing the world in your neighbor. Imagine that. And then suddenly your brother is believed to be somebody who can cure and do miracles and all of that. I mean, not the way, I think maybe a tent preacher might claim to do a miracle, but, the prayers of the Pope for somebody ailing would mean something so important and substantial to a devout Catholic. And this man now suddenly finds himself, he's like, all of these like people with these incredibly sad stories, and I feel terrible about it. And they all they want me to do is just tell my brother about him so that he can say a prayer. And he does it. And you know how dangerous it is for him to go on something like that? That was a local Chicago news channel, so it wasn't like some hidden podcast. To go on something that profile and say that, yeah, I do tell my brother, do you know how much of a problem that's going to lead for him? He understands that. He understands that now the calls will be tenfold. Man, and a guy going around like this, and he's not a priest, he's just a dude. He's a dad, he's a father, he's a husband, he's a retired guy, he's a grandpa. And now he's going around, he's getting heckled at the Jewel food store by idiots in MAGA hats. I added that. I probably don't have. I don't know. We don't. Bomb threats being called into his house. All of his neighbors who probably love him dearly. I'm sure that he's a wonderful dude in the area. He's like famous now. I mean, he's super famous now. Fame by association. Hey, if the Kardashians can pull it off, why can't the Pope's brother? Anyway, very sad story there about the way people are reacting and the way people are looking at this situation. And yeah, just a reminder of the mental health of the average American, about how we're all these volatile little powder kegs. Another piece of news concerning this little war is that I'm sure it has nothing to do with anything, but the Trump administration has stripped a major Miami charity, a major Miami Catholic charity, of the $11 million that they get from the federal government to house, feed, and care for immigrants. That happened yesterday. They let that Catholic charity down there in Miami know that the gravy train ends here. And it's probably easy for the Trump administration to do, because they look at the Catholic charities down there in Miami and they think, oh, they're obviously grifting. They're obvious. I'm sure if we give them 11 million, only 500,000 goes to those kids, because that's how they see the Catholic Church. And that's what they think. And that's how everybody is. That's how they are. But here's the thing about Catholic charities of South Florida, okay? They don't need your fucking money. See, because the Catholic charities are going to do it anyway. And if it just makes it really harder for them, that's okay. That's the sacrifice of faith. Catholic charities aren't going to go out of business because you didn't give them the 11 million, you petty little bitch boy. Donald Trump, who is banned from, actually, I was going to say banned from operating a charity in the state of New York, is now being punitive and petty about, the good works of Catholic charities in South Florida. He's not banned. Here's the deal. I wanted to say he was banned because he was banned, but then, there was an appeal and then they made a deal. And so it's not that Donald Trump is banned from running a charity in New York State. It's just that the president of the United States, if he decided that he was going to start a charity that he claimed was in the best interest of the people, there are now a whole bunch of hoops he's got to jump through, not the least of which he's got to establish a board of governors who will oversee everything that he does, and all of these governors cannot have any relation whatsoever to Trump, the Trump family, or the Trump organizations, or any of their holdings. So because of that, Trump doesn't have any charities in New York. I ain't doing that. That'll make it hard for me to steal money from poor people. So there are no more Trump foundations in New York because of that. But God forbid I misrepresent. I didn't want to say he was banned. He's not banned. He was originally banned, but now he's not banned. That guy is being punitive and petty towards the Catholic charities of South Florida. Cool. I do wanna spend a moment here now. And again, this I got a whole bunch of other stuff we're gonna get to. We're gonna have fun, but this is going to be something that I want to talk about in conjunction with what we talked about yesterday. About remember I started the show yesterday and I told you about Barnes. I got Barnes in the chat room. He Barney triggered me, and I was like the night before, and I'm like, I'm gonna tell. And then what did I say to Barney on Twitter? I said, dude, let's get into this tomorrow, because once again, you have produced a segment that I want to get into. So Barney triggered me. Barney's my guy. You can be friends. I didn't agree. Did you agree with all of your friends growing up? Like the pack that you rode around with? Did you agree with your buddies about anything? From favorite football team? One of my friends was an Eagles fan. Another one was a Raiders fan. Another one was a Patriots fan. I was a Rams fan. Yeah, we all had to adopt new teams because, before 1984, the Chicago Bears were garbage. So we all had other teams. We didn't agree on the kind of BMX bike we liked. What? You're a Schwinn guy? Dude, mongoose all the way, right? Then we all became older and we're going out to bars and like, what are you doing drinking whiskey? We're drinking beer. We're drinking Bud Light. We don't drink Bud Light. We drink Coors Light. Never a problem until 2026. Now suddenly, if you have just the slightest disagreement politically with one of your best friends, nope, all over. So I appreciate my old friends like Barney and Frank to some extent, and Adam, certainly. We've done this. All my old friends who understand how to trigger me and how we can funnel that into fun. Capital F-U-N in funnel. So it happened again last night. Barney triggered me with this whole, he classified Catholicism as a Christian organization, which triggered me into, bitch, no, we're the only Christians. That's how Catholics feel. Catholics feel we're the only Christians. What do you mean Christian organization? Like we're on some kind of equal footing, you heretic? What? Get out of here. So that was fun. It was so I went on a little rant about, Catholicism and how we see evangelicals, because, I've had to put up with evangelicals since 2001. So I've dated them. Some of my best friends. He's evangelical, my best friends, people I love dearly, so, I put up with it. I never said anything. You could avoid all these conversations by just simply saying, I don't really believe I'm a lapsed Catholic. Although I'll tell you, that did lead to more problems because they all want to proselytize. They all want to, maybe you should come and read the Bible with me. Again, bitch, I'm Catholic. I don't read the Bible. We wrote the Bible. Our religion isn't based on the propaganda handbook that we wrote so that other people without churches could then find Christianity. You don't do this. So that was me and Barney. Barney representing a non-Catholic view of Christianity in America, and me representing the bitch. You ain't even Christian. How dare you? Somebody last night on Twitter. Oh, no, this is Blue Sky. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is Blue Sky. Somebody last night on Blue Sky, after I posted something about Pope Leo. I don't know what it was. I forwarded something and I said something. It wasn't important. It wasn't particularly witty. It doesn't even warrant the seconds I've just wasted talking about it. But I did need a drink of water, so I posted something on Blue Sky, and somebody on Blue Sky said to me, and it triggered me in the same way that Barney did the night before. Somebody said to me, well, you need to be saved. You need to be saved. That's the other thing that I just need to mention. Since I'm pointing out all the things that I've been quiet about for 20 years, because when in Rome, and always be respectful, and all the things that Catholicism hammers into your fucking head your whole life, all those awful things. You need to be saved. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about salvation, okay? Understand, guys, that to a Catholic, salvation is a lifelong process. It's a life filled with grace and charity and compassion and cooperation with the Word of God that can only be attained after you've completed your life and stand before your Maker, and He casts judgment, and only He casts judgment, you heretics! Saved? What, you think you're done? What, you think you're done because you go to the mega church on Preston and you can spend your weeks being a piece of shit because you're saved? Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. We Catholics, we spend our lives trying desperately to be on the right side of God's final judgment. God's judgment, not the preacher who wants you there. He's going to tell you, you're here, you're saved. Don't worry about it. That's all you need to do. Just make sure you tithe. The idea of salvation is so heretical. It is so anti-Jesus. And yet it's like the primary part. And, where does it come from? Well, where does salvation come from? It certainly doesn't go back to the ancient church. There was no such thing as salvation outside of... Well, I mean, if you... Look, there was always people who were offering offshoot brands of, con man Christianity. But really, the idea of salvation came about in rural America during tent shows, revival tent shows, where these preachers who were only in it for the money would travel from town to town on a Sunday and try and pack the pews. Salvation was the idea that you can offer the carouser on Saturday night redemption for his ill deeds if you just show up in the tent. Doesn't matter what you did last night, Junkie McTown Otis. You show up in the tent show and you're going to get saved. It's all right. Some might say, well, Pugs, isn't that just a variation of confession? No, it's not at all. First of all, Catholic confession is the original therapy. And it is certainly something that I would relish getting back into, because confession is free therapy. What confession is in the Catholic Church is just it's an absolvement of the petty sins that Catholics carry through guilt. The whole Catholic Church teaches you growing up that every little thing that you do makes you a piece of shit, and you're going to have to face final judgment. So, the big things, you really need to be worried about the big things. But here, the little things about how you think your friend's mom is hot, or you stole a candy bar, or maybe, you're thinking about cheating on your wife, whatever it is, the things that aren't really the existential problems, you can be relieved of those. Just come and confess them. You can go on with your life. Worry about the big things. Worry about not doing the big things, because the little things, look, confession, we created it. It's good. It's nothing like salvation. You're not being saved. You're being absolved of these little sins that you are worried are going to pile up when you have to face Jesus and his judgment. God and his judgment, the Holy Trinity. So please, don't give me the arrogance of presuming that you know what Christ's judgment in you is going to be, because that's what you're saying when you claim to be saved. You might be able to hedge that if maybe you phrased it with, well, I'm on the road to salvation, but I've certainly not been saved. But I'm on the road. Maybe that's a little bit more acceptable. But anything short of that is just pure arrogance in the face of God. And the origins of this arrogance come from the beginnings of American conman Christianity. The tent shows that didn't give a fuck about your ongoing mortal soul. What they cared about was making as much money on that Sunday before they moved on to the next town of suckers. That's where your salvation comes from. So go kick rocks, okay? Go kick rocks. I'm a Catholic. I don't get saved until Jesus says I did well enough to be saved. Isn't that fun? One last thing too. One last thing before we get into something even more. about the Bible, because a couple of people have said things to me since my original rant about the differences by how the Bible is utilized by Catholics and how it's seen as Catholics. It's a book, it's a propaganda piece. It is very important to our teachings and all that stuff, but we don't go around throwing verses in people's faces, because the verses are not meant to be modern. The verses are not meant to be applicable to whatever fucking bad behavior you're trying to justify that your church allows you to do. The difference between how the Bible is seen between Catholics and Protestants, or more to the point here, because I want to stay dialed into the evangelical movement of America, which is pure evil. The difference between how Catholics treat the Bible and how evangelicals treat the Bible is this. Catholics live their entire life trying to fit into the box the Bible describes. The Bible tells you, do this. This is what you're supposed to do. Live this way. Jesus says, do this. There is no interpretation. There is no Bible study where you sit around and go, what do you think he meant by this? Well, what I think he meant is that it's okay for me to cheat on my wife. I think that's the interpretation that I get. Can we go with that? Hallelujah! We're a church filled with divorced men and women. Catholics don't do that. That's the Catholics. The whole point of the Bible, the only person who's allowed to interpret the Bible and tell us what the verses mean is the Pope, the unbroken line of succession from Jesus himself. That is the person who understands, and his interpretation of the Bible is what we go with. And yeah, that sucks. That ain't freedom. Hell no. Catholicism is fascism. That's why you sign up for it. That's why I can't believe that anybody would willingly sign up for this life. Cradle Catholics, we understand this. It's hard. There are burdens. There are things you got to do. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't asshole Catholics, because God knows the whole world is filled with bad asshole Catholics. But at the core of the entire movement of Catholicism versus the evangelical movement isn't to turn a profit. It's not. They don't need to. They stole all the gold out of the Middle East when they went down there during the Crusades. We are banked for generations, the Catholic Church. It's not about profit. It is legitimately about saving souls and spreading and amplifying the words and acts of Jesus Christ. That's all it's about. It ain't about, making sure that the gays don't show up and worrying about who's sleeping with who. Now, we've got very real rules about divorce and all those kinds of things, but every good Catholic knows that there are ways around that. There are ways. Now, you might say, isn't it hypocritical to you trying to fit your life into the Bible? Again, ultimately, we're going to meet Jesus and let us worry about that. Maybe we feel we can balance out some of these little things that aren't exactly to the letter of what the Catholic Church would want. Maybe we can balance those out by just living our lives otherwise like good Catholics in a time when the fucking world is filled with jerks. So yeah, there are some hypocritical aspects of it. But again, at the cornerstone, it's not about judging others. It's not about feeling superior in your clique. It's not about turning a profit. It's about bearing the burden of Christ's word throughout your lifetime. That's it. That's Catholicism. All right. And I'm probably going to be done now with all of these, Catholicism versus evangelicalism, unless somebody challenges me with something else. And then we'll do that. All right. Can you feel that? The Holy Spirit moving me, the passion, the emotional exhaustion. That's just natural biochemistry. All right. That's all that is. That's just indoors. It's just me working myself up. There ain't no Holy Spirit involved. Let's see here. Yeah. All right. So Ross says wearing a giant phallic hat whilst Stop with the fucking disrespect, dude. Seriously. Okay, you're not Catholic. Shut the fuck up, man. Thank you. That's me and Ross. That's my honest reaction. Seriously, what I honestly, it's like I spend my entire life not realizing that the Ku Klux Klan put Catholics in a category with, all the other people they have no reason to hate. And it's perfectly cool for, Ross to just shit on the leader of, 1.5 billion people's faith, and we all accept it because, no, not now. Not now. Fucking guy in the phallic hat, are you listening to what he's saying, Ross? Or are you just being glib? That was good. All right, thank you, buddy. Thank you, Ross. You know I got mad because I called him Ross. Called him by his real name. All right, let's see here. What else we got to talk about? We did the missing scientist. That's a good story. I don't want to do necessarily the Johnny Somali yet. Johnny Somali is the troll. We're going to hit the ground with Johnny Somali. Oh, how about this? RFK Jr.'s being weird again. I never finished the Ryan Murphy Hulu miniseries about JFK Jr. and Carol. I never finished it. I got to the wedding part. I watched the first 4 episodes, and I'm like, oh, the wedding, that's cool. I learned some fun facts. I don't know. I never went back. I don't know. I don't think Ryan Murphy appeals to me anymore. I think he's, I don't know. I liked Ryan Murphy better when he was I guess maybe trying to fit into a mainstream box instead of being the leader of homo porn, homo gore porn. I mean, it's fine. I mean, I don't care. That's fine. That's a genre. I also haven't seen any Fast and the Furious movies or any Medea shit because that shit doesn't appeal to me either. So, but Ryan, I used to love that guy. He used to be really good, but now everything is bloody and gory and everybody's, sexually weird, and it's just very uncomfortable the way it is so bizarre to me that Ryan Murphy, the same guy who created Glee, which is a terrific show, wholesome, again, not necessarily my cup of tea, but Ryan Murphy, the guy who created Glee, before that, by the way, created Nip Tuck, which is a brilliant show. So Ryan Murphy does this weird psychosexual Nip Tuck show, right? And it's very sexual. It was psychotic, So we saw what Ryan Murphy had inside him, right, with Nip Tuck in it. But that was done for more mainstream audiences. They did Glee, and you hit the home run out of the park with Glee. Then he started doing these American Horror Story things, and they paid him a shitload of money, and now he doesn't need to please the man anymore, and he can just do whatever he wants, and every show he's got has butt sex and blood. I'm nuts. I'm like, eh. Now, that's not the case with this JFK Caroline Kennedy thing. There's very little gore. Although I don't know, I haven't gotten to the plane crash part yet, but very little gore, but it's just a little too soap opera. It doesn't seem like he's doing his best writing, and it seems a little bit, just not for me. I'm a straight middle-aged guy. I like baseball and beer, and I like big boobs. Maybe Love Story wasn't for me. So anyway, I got through 4 episodes. Here's what I did notice, though. Why did they avoid RFK Jr. so much? There was there's a lot of depicting the crowd that JFK Jr. ran with. Michael Skakel. Well, remember the story about Michael Skakel? Michael Skakel's brother is the one that JFK Jr. ran with. But Michael Skakel killed Martha Moxley and got away with it. Anyway, look into that. That's a Kennedy cousin. No RFK Jr. is my point. I didn't clock any RFK Jr. I clocked everybody else. Caroline Kennedy, played by Meryl Streep's daughter. Naomi Watts as Jackie Kennedy. I mean, there was enough of the people, that you were, but no RFK Jr. That family hates him. That family hates him. They really do. Well, that's only because he's about to expose their century-long network of baby fetal blood drinkers. And yeah, okay, sure. It's not that he's the black sheep who kept embarrassing the family over and over with arrests and being a junkie and divorces and oh my God. No, it's because he's about to expose the whatever magic potion the Kennedys have been drinking. Anyway, he's being weird again. Apparently, he went on a podcast, and well, here's the story. Something about a raccoon dick. You guys hear about this? Apparently, RFK Jr. went on a family outing. Maybe this is why they don't hang out with him anymore. RFK Jr. Here's the headline. RFK Jr. once chopped off a dead raccoon's penis to study later while on a family road trip. Oh, fun. All right, so again, we're talking about the guy who he found a dead animal and decided that he was going to drop it, plant it. Really, there in Central Park because he was working some environment campaign, and a dead one of these animals in Central Park would really help his campaign. And he did it. It was a fraud, and he did it, and he got caught, and he talked about it, and blah blah blah. Then also, didn't he have like brain maggots? Right, he had brain maggots. And there was something else, man. There was something that, like, I remember when he was stranded on the planet Hoth, he climbed inside that Tauntaun for warmth. Anyway, he's done a lot of weird shit. Didn't he do something with a whale? Didn't he explode a whale for fun or something? He's just a weird guy. Well, now comes the story here that apparently once on a family trip, he found a raccoon and decided to cut its dick off for, a little learning later. That's right. It's not weird. It's totally normal. And the crazy thing is that every single one of these stories comes from his own mouth. This is not hearsay. This is him thinking this is totally normal behavior because, of course, he was raised in the Kennedy family. He has no idea what normal behavior is. None. The absolute best Kennedys achieve a level of Kennedy-ness where they can at least pretend that they're normal. They're not. They're space aliens. They've been space aliens since Lee Harvey Oswald allegedly blew JFK's head off. Since that moment, the Kennedys in this country have been space aliens. And RFK Jr.'s only known that life. So he ain't normal, which is why he sits around and talks and says things that are like, this guy's in charge of our health. This guy's in charge of our health. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., an avid animal genitalia researcher. Oh, is he? Is that what we're calling him? Says he once pulled the family sedan to the side of the road after spying a dead raccoon and swiftly cutting off the sex organs so that he could study them later. Why? The fuck? You're a failed lawyer. You know, you did the Kennedy path to passing the bar exam, which took you a whole bunch of tries. Then you were like an environmentalist guy. Then you were like, human shoe leather. And you married. Now you're like in charge of health. Why? Because you wrote some really con man-y books that a bunch of idiots read, and now you're in charge of our health? Like I say, man. This country's nuts. This country's just nuts. And Pope Leo's American. He's an American. That he's an American is a miracle. Anyway, the bizarre account here by the nation's top civilian health official was, in a new book, RFK Jr., The Fall and Rise, blah, 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 blah. He said, and this is a direct quote, I was standing in front of my parked car on I-684, cutting the penis out of a roadkill raccoon, thinking about how weird some of my family members have turned out to be. That's a direct quote. Okay, calm down. All right, calm down. Calm down. Just don't bite on every petty thing, no matter how delicious it looks. Can't help myself. All right, here we go. All right, so he's standing on the side of the road. He's cutting the dick off a raccoon, and he's thinking to himself, man, them Kennedys are weird. Okay, all right, that's enough. All right, we don't need to do any more of that. That's, really, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Make it all better? There's nothing more I can add to that. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, okay. All right, let's do this now. Let's talk about Johnny Somali. Johnny Somali is one of these YouTubers, one of these TikTokers, one of these kids who, I don't know, I don't seem to have any job. Well, this is interesting too about Johnny Somali. Johnny Somali is a provocateur. We don't call them fancy French words anymore. Now they're just trolls. But that's basically what this guy is. He travels the world inciting he's the foreigner, but he travels the world as a foreigner, as an American, just starting shit with people. And one of his big banger hits, apparently, is that he goes to monuments and sacred places in other people's cultures and then shits on them for kicks. Ha! Because we're all going to die anyway. We got, what, 6 months left? Why wouldn't I do this? Probably raised non-Catholic Christian. That's what I imagine. All right, so Johnny Somali does this, and he made his way to South Korea. Now, South Korea has some pretty dark history. So South Korea went through some shit, which is, most obvious in the fact that there isn't a Korea. There's like a South Korea and a North. So long-standing problems there on that peninsula. But during World War II, South Korean women were used by the Japanese Imperial Army as what is known as comfort girls. An entire civilian population of girls between the ages of 12 and 18. That's right. Unless you were really hot, then they would get older. But yeah. Hey, let's reward the Japanese infantry with a little round of pedophilia. What do you say? Who wants a 12-year-old? Comfort girls. The Japanese military set up these government brothels where Japanese infantry and soldiers, when they were on leave, could spend time with these comfort girls free of charge. What these comfort girls were enslaved civilians of areas that were taken over by the Japanese Imperial Army. That was World War II. So in South Korea, they take this notion of comfort girls in the memory of these women, many of whom survived and many of whom have been, elevated to Rosa Parks type status in South Korea throughout their lives. Many of these, like I said, many of them are dead. But anyway, they take it very seriously. And there is a park that is dedicated to the comfort girls. And there is a statue and a bench. And it's the memorial, basically, to this absolutely horrific thing that the women of South Korea had to endure back in World War II. So very serious, right? Don't be a dick. Well, Johnny Somali, he went to South Korea and he started fucking with the comfort girl thing. Talking about how they all hoes and y'all deserve it. And click, 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 click. And you saw everybody scrolling. Hearts, oh, they love it. Decided to give a little lap dance. He gave a little lap dance, rubbing his dick in the face and all of that stuff to the statue of a little girl who was used. She was enslaved and turned into a whore, turned into a prostitute. At 12 years old. Yeah, Johnny Somali. He's getting them clicks. Click, 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 click. I got 15 listeners. Well, lucky for us, South Korea don't play that. And they got him. They got him, and they wouldn't let him leave the country. And he's been in the country now for well over a year under state arrest. They don't give a fuck that he's an American citizen. He's out there. He's been out there for the last year or so on his Twitter going, I'm the Otto Warm Beer. I'm the Otto Warm Beer of South Korea. I wouldn't have a problem if Johnny Salami or whatever the fuck, Johnny Somali. I wouldn't have a problem if Johnny Somali was never heard from again. Don't you go comparing yourself to Otto Warm Beer. Now, what Otto Warm Beer did was ill-advised at best, but he certainly didn't do what you did. Anyway, let's watch this. Here's a video. So Johnny Somali, here's the good news. Johnny Somali, YouTuber, was arrested and charged in a way that American authorities would never charge a pedophile. Would never. They charged Johnny Salami with everything. I know, his name is Johnny Somali. I think Johnny Salami is funnier. They charged him with everything and went to trial, and he was claiming to be an international prisoner and all this stuff, and fuck you. He was found guilty yesterday, and sentenced in South Korea to 6 months of hard labor. 6 months of hard labor for old Johnny Salami. Oh, man, you're so funny. Remember when you went to Japan and you just shit all over the Forest of the Dead? Remember that? When you took a big crap? Yeah, that's something that he did. He took a dump outside. He peed against the Forest of the Dead tree in Japan, which is some monument to some awful horrible thing that went there. Yeah. And then he went to South Korea and he decided to rub his balls in the face of a little child sex slave. Very funny stuff. Very funny stuff. Found guilty, sentenced to 6 months hard labor in a South Korean work prison. Let's go. Now you might be thinking, Pugs, that's mean. He's probably a young guy. Yeah, he is. He's like 19 or something. I don't know. We'll get to it. He's old enough to know better. Let's take a look at the video that he posted, the video that got him 6 months of hard labor. This is a monument there in South Korea in a park, a dedication to the comfort girls, the sex slaves, the underage sex slaves that the Japanese Imperial Army, used to comfort soldiers. Here you go. Watch this. And again, I wanted you to hear what happened before you see it. And then you can watch it and you can be like, yeah, I know why Pugs is so happy. That kid's going for 6 months of hard labor. Should do it in this country. All right, here you go. All right, so this is Johnny Somali right here, right? There's a picture of him. There's going to be a static picture of him so you can see what a nice-looking kid he is. And then here on the right, this is the actual Johnny Salami video. Behind you is a bench and a monument and a statue of a little girl who was a sex slave. Well, he's fingering her upper dress. That's fun. You know what? Hold on. I'm going to kill the music. I'm going to kill the music because I don't want any strikes or anything. So we'll kill the music. We don't need the music. We can just watch this idiot. All right. So, oh, yeah. Now he's look at me. Ha ha. I'm lap dancing. She was only 12. This is fun. All right. So he's doing this shit. Look at him. He's like, look at me for clicks. I have no respect for anything. I am the quintessential American. And that's the other fucking thing. Here's another version of Americanism that is going around the world. This is what people see. Oh, no, he's doing this. All right, so whatever. Still very... Isn't he fun? Oh, look how he's got crazy hair. Oh, he's put the hat on her. Oh, now he's kissing her. Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, what's this? Hold on. Oh, this is just another example of what he was doing in South Korea. He's just going around fucking with people and surviving. Hold on. That'll be the next clip. All right, asshole. Come on.
Huh? For what? You're going to touch me? The police come touch. I sue. Lawsuit. I don't touch you.
See, he's one of these guys. He's one of these guys that instigates and then banks on the fact that the person he's instigating with, doesn't want a whole police thing. Boy, this guy, I don't, this is how people die. And, rightfully so.
Care. I'm American. America, you.
See, that's what he does. He does all of these asshole things and then runs around with our name in his mouth.
USA. Don't touch you. Don't care. I'm American. America, USA.
All right, there you have it. That's Johnny Salami, otherwise known to his internet viewers as Johnny Somali. So here's the thing. Wait, let's see which one. Okay, we did that. Okay, let me pull this up. All right. So, I never heard of this kid before, and you never did either. And so I started looking into it. I'm like, how many followers does he have? This guy's traveling the world, staying in hotels, flying, airfare. I mean, you know what airfare is right now? This guy's just traveling around the world, jet setting. He's got to have, 5 million followers, right? Wrong. This guy's got 5,000 YouTube followers. 5,000. His combined social media is nothing, and somebody is bankrolling him. He doesn't come from money. I did the investigating. Here's what it says. I asked, how does Johnny Somali support his travels? Says here, Johnny Somali does not have a large following on any major platform and has been banned from most of them. His travel and legal expenses has largely been funded by viewer donation, live stream tips, and recently personal support from associates. Personal support from associates. I mean, I guess you could say money from friends or whatever, but I mean, what friend is giving him airline tickets around the world to go be an asshole on the street? There's an agenda here. Somebody is funding this. For what purpose? I don't know. Accumulative assholery around the globe? I don't know. Let's see. His social media numbers, while estimates of 5,000 followers on YouTube is correct or accurate for his current accounts, he does not have a large secondary following elsewhere to compensate. His primary channels have been repeatedly deleted or banned. On YouTube, his current active channel has roughly 5,200 subscribers. His previous main YouTube channel that was banned had a high of 20,000 subscribers. That's not enough for you to not have to work and be able to travel the world representing Americanism in this way. That's not enough. Where is he getting this money? Tips? Super chats? Now that's even more disturbing, because if he's making enough money to live this lifestyle off super chats, and here's how it works. He goes to some place and he stands in front of something that is sacred or something that is, foundational to some culture's belief. He goes to that place and then he live streams and he goes, who wants me to pee on it? And then people are like, $20, $20, $20, $20. Let's see here. He's been banned or suspended from Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, and alternative sites like Party. Let's see here. What else do we know about this guy? His legal name is Ramzi Khalid Ismail. He's an American. Oh, I bet you he's being funded by. I bet you there's some Iranian money. I'm just saying. The Iranians fund all kinds of shit to make Americans look bad. I'm just going by his name and trying to figure out how this guy can afford. He does these things, these TikToks from the hotels that he stays in. He stayed in the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. That's like $5,000 a night. Who's paying for this so-called American whose job it is to travel the world, shit on people's sacred monuments, and then just all around be an ugly American? Who's paying for this shit? What is going on with this world? Let's see here. Somali's behavior follows a pattern of provocative stunts while traveling overseas as a tourist, seemingly oblivious to the importance of these monuments. Oh, that's what it is. I didn't mean it. I didn't know it was important. Meanwhile, he's talking to his streamers. Hey, who wants me to rub my balls on Rosa Parks' chin? Huh? $20, $20, $20, $20, $20, $20, $20. It's the world we've made. It's the world we've made. But 6 months, hard labor, South Korean prison. There ain't no appeals for this. He's already this morning, sentenced yesterday. He's already doing hard labor. Sorry, Johnny Salame. See you in 6 months, kids. Oh, by the way, also did the looking into this. They ain't got that bullshit that we got here in America. 6 months hard labor is 6 months hard labor. 6 months. Here's the other fun part, and I love this. So in South Korea, he will need to register as a sex offender. He will need for the rest of his life, because of these sexual acts that he did against the national monument. He will be a registered sex offender in South Korea. But, you're probably like, well, that's okay, because he doesn't, he's probably not going to stay there. I mean, the only reason he's still there is because they won't let him leave. He's an American. He lives in Phoenix. He's going to be back in Arizona in no time. Well, guess what? We have an agreement with South Korea that if somebody is a sex offender in South Korea, they're a sex offender in the United States. So after 6 months of hard labor, he's going to come back a 19-year-old sex offender. Good luck, kiddo. Oh, I don't know. That'll probably work for him. That'll probably work to his advantage. He'll start a whole new kick stream dedicated to pedophiles. Hey, that's a demographic that nobody has ever actively tried to corral. Let's do that. We'll talk about boy bands. We'll talk about our favorite boy band. We'll just see who we get. Let's just do a show where we talk about boy bands and just see who we get in the chat room. Let's just see. Amazing grace. All right, here I'm going to leave you. Well, I won't leave you with this because I got one more thing that I want to hip y'all to. But this I thought was a really fun story. This was just such a great story. So, started out as a not so great story. Where is this? Cleveland? I think this is Cleveland. Okay, so in Cleveland, some people got very concerned about their 91-year-old grandma. Couldn't find their 91-year-old grandma. Where's grandma? We called her on Sunday. Did you call her? Yeah. Did she go to church? No, she didn't go to church. She blew off church. Oh my God, where's grandma? Go over to grandma's. So, somebody goes over to grandma's and he comes back. What was it, grandma's? I banged on the door. I rang the doorbell. I don't know. There's nobody inside. I looked in the windows. I couldn't get in. So at this point, the family's like, oh, 91-year-old grandma. Oh my God, they're thinking the worst. And apparently one of the sons had keys. He could have gone over there. But because it's 91-year-old grandma who missed church, who isn't answering her grandson's calls, because 91-year-old grandma is gone dark, son with the keys is thinking the worst. And rightfully so, 91-year-old grandma. So he calls the police and he's like, you need to do a welfare check. I'll meet you out front. I'll give you the keys, but whatever it is, I don't want to find it. I'm going to need you guys to do it. So the police show up and, here, I'm going to let local Cleveland news from last night tell you the story. 91-year-old grandma. And again, if this doesn't give you faith, if this isn't a story, look, don't worry, grandma's fine. All right. I don't mean to bury the lead there, but grandma's fine. But you can see how people would be thinking the absolute worst. Here's the story as they reported it yesterday. Let me see if I can share it for you. This comes out of Cleveland. Yeah. All right. All right, here it is. Watch this story. Here it is. You go, Granny.
Scary situation in Westlake yesterday. Police and the family of a 91-year-old woman unable to get a hold of her. But officers never could have imagined what they were about to find when they went to check things out. Our Scott Knoll explains.
Westlake police at the home of a 91-year-old woman Thursday night.
783 garage door.
I'm thinking OnlyFans. Seriously. I'm like, what is grandma? Is there some fetish? Did one of her grandsons get her hooked into some fetish group in OnlyFans? And now grandma's making all kinds of money? Oh, buckle up. Buckle up.
He's at the home of
Our Scott Knoll explains.
Westlake police at the home of a 91-year-old woman Thursday night.
783 garage doors open. We're gonna make entry.
Police, her family, all unable to get a hold of the homeowner.
Vehicles in the garage.
The woman, a part of the city's Are You OK program. This time, another woman not answering the call.
Everyone's a little bit alarmed that she was missing these contacts.
What would police find this time?
Westlake police!
To protect the woman's identity, police didn't release any more of that video.
Oh, and that is bullshit because they opened up the door and guess what they found? They found 91-year-old Granny staring at her fucking Xbox trying to break an all-time record. Granny did exactly what every 14-year-old boy in America does when the parents freak out because they're not answering their phones or returning texts. It's because your kid is in the middle of a 12-hour video game. She blew off church. Do you know how into a game and breaking a record a 91-year-old lifelong churchgoer has to be? Say, oh, fuck it, I'm getting to this next level. This is a great story. This is a great story.
But what happens next, no one would have guessed.
Turned out to be all okay. Everyone got a good laugh out of it.
Police found her all right in her room. We'll let the officers called to dispatch explain the rest.
We're here with her now. She's playing video games in her bedroom.
Police say not just playing video games, but trying to beat her record level, officers say. in the process missing those attempts to check in on her. But we're told thankful police came out. In Westlake, I'm News 5 investigator Scott Knoll.
Oh, that's a happy story, a happy ending to what was probably a couple hours of real concern for people who love grandma. How great is that? I can't even get my mom to hit the input button so that she can use a smart TV. I can't. And this 91-year-old is like, no. What do you think she's playing? Mortal Kombat? Wouldn't that be cool if Granny's like just awesome at Mortal Kombat? Or like Grand Theft Auto? She's just like real. You know, I got to be honest with you, and I've had this thought many, many times. Why don't older retired people embrace video games? They have no idea. See, it's coming, but we are like in the last generation where a 91-year-old getting completely mesmerized by trying to break a level on a game. This is the last old people that'll be a weird story for. Like our generation, Gen X, I expect to be a 90-year-old whiz at Madden. I am in the old folks' home. I am just that's when I'm gonna start really playing video games. Because why not? Oh my God. I mean, just ask any 14-year-old in America how cool Xbox is or whatever, they'll tell you. And I'm telling you, I think the reason that old people don't do it is because they're intimidated by it. They think it must be so hard. You spend 2 hours being frustrated. You spend 2 hours going, why do I keep walking into the wall? And then after those 2 hours, you're like, this is the greatest fucking thing I've ever been a part of. I can't believe this is. Anyway, 91-year-old granny, she was trying to break a new level. I'd like to believe that it's Mortal Kombat, but who knows? All right, the last thing that I want to leave you guys with today before we do our show tomorrow, what I want to leave you with today is I want to hip you to something that is so good. It is so good. And you know what? I was hip to it by my son. My son texted me yesterday, and he sent me a link, and he said, Dad, you got to watch this. This is really strong. And I'm like, oh, okay. And, it's not like I roll my eyes because I've got a 16-year-old who's a moron. No, we have got pretty good, he's got pretty good taste of being able to pick out stuff that isn't just routine and random, right? So when he says, Dad, you got to see this, watch this. And it was an hour and a half new comedy special that was posted under the radar, free of charge on YouTube. You don't have to have Netflix or HBO Max or anything like that. And it is one of the best comedy specials, best comedy stand-up specials that I've seen in a very long time. And why I love the fact that my son was like, Dad, you got to see this. Because the content on this is 100% current events. It's 100% Kristi Noem's husband and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. And it's 100% what the fuck is happening in this world. Like, it's current events. It's not just a guy up there pacing the stage, doing voices and telling fat jokes. It's like satire, it's modern comedy, it's smart. So when my son suggested it, he's like, Dad, it's the best comedy special I've ever seen. He's having a moment similar to the moment that I had when I was a little bit older than him, the first time that I saw Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Not the movie, not the Jimmy Stewart, or I'm sorry, oh, look at me, I screwed it. Of course not the movie. The first time I saw Mr. Miller Goes to Washington. That was a transformative comedy stand-up special for me. It was Dennis Miller, 1989 or 88, whatever it was. It was back when he was doing Saturday Night Live as the weekend update guy. And Dennis Miller came out and did a current events comedy special that absolutely slayed. And I went, yes, you mean comedy doesn't just have to be silly nonsense or these incredibly lofty Bill Hicksian, Carlin type ideals? They can actually be somebody up there just telling you about how weird the headlines are. That's what Mr. Miller Goes to Washington was for me. Dennis Miller, it was a fantastic, fantastic comedy. It's what got him his TV show. It was so good. So this, because I got to talk to the kid a little bit, this is kind of that for him. He was like, no, this was really interesting. So it's on YouTube, and it's a comic who you may not know because he's not a big name. He's not Sebastian Maniscalco or who's the guy that everybody loves, the guy from like Nashville or whatever with the weird name that people can't pronounce. Anyway, he's not one of the bigger names, but he is good. He's not one of the bigger names, but I think he's one of the important names. And I think after this special that he posted for free on YouTube, and here's the other thing, they're really promoting it because he was on Colbert 2 nights ago to promote this drop. And he's not really the type that you see often on talk shows. He's somebody who you see the clips on Twitter or Instagram or TikTok, and you go, oh my God, that comedian is strong. That guy is strong. He's one of my son's favorites, and he's also one of the guys that I clock as, of the newer, and he's not newer. He's 33. He's been out there for a while, but he's terrific. His name is Josh Johnson. And he's got a brand new YouTube special. And if you have any interest in current events and poking fun at current events and all of that, and by the way, I need to point out, it's not like I'm a liberal and here's, it's not Janine Garofalo taking down the Iran invasion in 2003. No, it's not that. Josh Johnson's a 32-year-old black guy who's like super cool. He's like really cool and really chill. He's not like smart, but he's incredibly smart. Like he's Chappelle smart. Like you can tell, but his stuff isn't meant to be intimidating. It's just, all right, so I don't understand this, but why is, it's like that kind of thing. But all of his jokes and all of his content has to do with current events and stuff that's happening. And he's terrific. I would also say this about Josh Johnson. Let me also point this out. Sadly, I hate this. There's a local Dallas comic named Josh Johnson who also is a young, extremely talented black fella. And I'm like, my God, the Dallas Josh Johnson, amazing too. Not the same. Anyway, I love this new special. I'm going to show you a little bit of it. Let me just show you a little bit of it, because I don't think I can show you the whole thing, but I do want to put it on your radar. It is an hour and a half. And now this guy doesn't have a strong 10. This is a 90-minute live comedy special. Smooth as, he's so good. So incredibly good. And here's who I say he's like, because, the inclination, like a lot of people say, oh, he's the new Chappelle. Josh Johnson is the new Chappelle. No, he's not the new Chappelle. That's lazy. You're only saying that because, he's a black man who seems really cool with this sort of eye for society and societal commentary. No, that's the only reason. This guy is a comedian from the 1970s who never really made it to the top list of comedians, but worked relentlessly for 30 years and is considered by many to be one of the greatest comedians of the 70s and 80s, and the world just wasn't ready for it. That's who I think Josh Johnson is. That guy's name was Franklin Ajayi. Franklin Ajayi, go ahead, Google him right now. If you grew up in the 70s and in the 80s, you know him. You'll immediately know him. He was like Richard Pryor's best friend in every Richard Pryor movie. That's who I think Josh Johnson is. I think Josh Johnson has way more in common with, Franklin Ajayi than he does with Dave Chappelle. Just calling him Dave Chappelle is just lazy. Here, let me show you. All right, here's a little clip. This isn't my favorite clip. This is just a clip that's going around because people think it's really funny, but it is certainly not representative of his wit and his humor. But anyway, here it is. This is from the clip. This is him doing one of his runs on Kash Patel, which is so funny. The Kash Patel stuff is funny. The Kristi Noem's husband stuff is funny. The Pam Biondi. He has all of these callbacks. That he'll do a little hunk on Pam Biondi in the first 10 minutes, and then in minute 75, he'll do a callback. It's just, he's so good. He is so smooth. Anyway, here he is. This is, I think this is going viral. That's why it's popped up here. But here he is. This is from the new Josh Johnson YouTube special. He takes on all the best people one at a time. It's very funny.
Don't feel bad if you don't know who Kash Patel is. I know a lot of people don't keep up with who the director of the FBI is. Yeah. And don't worry if you haven't seen Kash Patel, because he's seen you.
So the joke here is that, one, Kash Patel has that weird non-blinking eye thing. But then the other level to this joke is that he's holding it for so long. This goes on for like another 30 seconds where he's just staring at people. And why I don't love this clip is because out of context, it doesn't really make sense. But because of the throwbacks, it starts to create a pattern. Anyway, it's on YouTube. What is it called? It's called the MAGA Civil War. That's what it is. It's called Josh Johnson, the MAGA Civil War, and he talks about all the problems with Candace Owens and Alex Jones. And again, it is not overtly political. It is observational, and it is very funny. It is very funny. So go ahead, find it on YouTube. He posted it up there for free. He's promoting it all over the place. Like I said, I think he was on Colbert last night. Josh Johnson, the MAGA Civil War. And by the way, it's called the MAGA Civil War because he draws this comparison from the Avengers. Like, it's like the Avengers Civil War, and he like breaks the team up because now they're all at each other's throats. And he's like, he's got one team with Candace Owens and Alex Jones. And anyway, it's very funny. He's a terrific young comic, and, times like these need interesting comedic voices to offer a different perspective on these polarizing issues that have us at each other's throats. I guarantee that anybody who is even still going, no, Pam Biondi wasn't bad at being the Attorney General, even somebody who holds that belief will watch this and think that's funny. He's just very funny. Pam is a callback that he keeps doing. He believes that Pam is the worst possible name that she could have had because no name is worse to yell than Pam, you burnt the pot roast. Just anyway, Josh Johnson. So there you go. Something for you to watch. Hour and 29 minutes, absolutely free of charge. Posted it up there on YouTube. Josh Johnson, MAGA Civil War. Brand new. Just dropped yesterday. Very funny. My son hipped me to it, and now I'm hipping you to it. Peter, yeah, yes. You know what? I buried the lead here, Peter, and I should have said that. You may know Josh Johnson from his work on The Daily Show. That is probably his most high-profile thing. Let's see here. Been looking for a new comedian to watch on to love. Oh, God, I'm glad. Yeah, man. Franklin Ajayi was cool, man. Franklin Ajayi was a comedian who was successful. I mean, he was a celebrity. But he wasn't Richard Pryor, and he wasn't, Arsenio Hall, or he wasn't any of the other, ones that had broken through to a different level. Franklin Ajayi was just, oh, that dude was on Sanford and Son. Oh, there he is again on Mary Tyler Moore. Oh, that dude's on Different Strokes now, right? He was just a constant face, and you recognize him, and then maybe you'd see him on The Tonight Show doing stand-up, but he never really broke through. But Franklin Ajayi is widely considered among all of the comedians, especially young comedians of today, to have been a guy that was just light years ahead with his comedy. So just another reason why Peter's cool as hell. Peter knows who Franklin Ajayi is. Do we have any? Is there any Franklin Ajayi? Could we just check out maybe a little Franklin Ajayi stand-up comedy just for those people who maybe don't recognize the name? But I promise you, will absolutely be like, oh yeah, that guy. There it is, Franklin Ajayi. All right, let's see. Any stand-up from him? I want some classic 70s stand-up. How about this? Yeah, all right, let's do some fucking Franklin Ajayi from 1974, the Midnight Special. All right, June 28, 1974. I have no idea what we're going to see. Okay. Hey, right now, oh, it's everywhere. Oh, here we go. This guy, you've seen him before.
Thank you. Wow, that was better than when I used to start, boy. I'm from Los Angeles. I went to a predominantly black high school out here, mainly because I was predominantly black at that time, you know? You dig it? We used to have fights, whole bunches of fights at lunchtime. Dudes would fight if you would talk about their mother, you know? You say something absurd, stupid about a dude's mother, boy, he'd take you serious. You know what, Willie, man? I saw your mom in a black sedan giving a hickey a Superman. Hey, man, my mama don't know Superman. Mighty Mouse, maybe, chump. One more word and I'm gonna get in your chest, man. Some dudes would warn you. A lot of cats wouldn't, though. You know, you say, hey, bumpy man, your mama. Wham! Hey, man, what's wrong with you? You come from a white school.
Doesn't this feel dated? It feels dated, and you can't. Here's what you got to be careful of. You can't blame. This feels dated, but this is very Josh Johnson. This is very Dave Chappelle, man. The way he's just very comfortable. You know, that wasn't Jimmy Walker. You know, Jimmy Walker, who was probably next to Richard Pryor. Actually, Jimmy Walker was probably bigger than Richard Pryor at this moment in 1974. But, you know, that wasn't what was, you know, being seen necessarily. This seems very early in his career. I don't even recognize this version of Franklin Ajayi. Let's see if there's anything more recent. Something. Is he dead? I don't even know if he's dead. Oh my God, is he dead? Oh, jeez. Okay, never mind. All right, anyway, he was in Car Wash. Franklin Ajayi is not the point. The point is Josh Johnson, and I think that he reminds me of Franklin Ajayi. Okay. Hey, look at this. Look at this. Rainy days. I've been missing for like a year and a half. What did I miss? Oh, nothing. Just the world burning, that's all. What is DASIP? I don't know what a DASIP is. Peter says, yes, he is a DASIP. I don't even know what he's talking. I don't know. Franklin Ajayi is still alive. Is he? What's he sounding like now? So we got any recent Franklin Ajayi stuff? Is there anything? Yeah, well, I mean, it's not crazy that he wouldn't still be alive. I mean, you know, I would think that he would, if he was alive. What is he, a man in his late 70s, early 80s, maybe? Let's see. Let's see if there's anything with him. No, just a whole bunch of stand-up. 7 years ago, Franklin Ajayi on terrorists. Look at him. He's still up there clubbing. He's alive at least 7 years ago. All right, let's see what this is. Let's check this out. 7 years ago, Franklin Ajayi.
Conflicts out here. You like the Ireland and Mideast? Boy, that's just been going on forever over there.
Hold on.
Those places. Getting kind of bored myself.
All right, here we go. See what this is.
All these religious conflicts out here. You like the Ireland and Mideast? Boy, that's just been going on forever over there. Both those places. Getting kind of bored myself. Aren't you getting kind of bored? Needs a little bit to spice your interest up. Since it's gonna be forever, you know what I mean? I say, shit, this, what you know what would get my interest if they just had like a fucking battle between the IRA and Islamic Jihad. That'd get you interested in it, wouldn't it? The ultimate terrorist battle. IRA, Irish Republican Army, versus Islamic Jihad. Arabic for my ass means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. They do. They have those exploding truck drivers, man. They do, boy. They be blowing their asses up, man. I can't imagine, man, anybody saying something so brilliant, so powerful in a meeting that I would just say, oh man, never thought about it like that. I gotta just blow my ass up, don't I? Yeah.
All right, I need to get out of here, so I don't want to sit and listen to the slow, meandering insights of Franklin Ajay, who, trust me, it pays off. He's very good. It's very nice. Fun vibe. Josh Johnson, MAGA Civil War, now free on YouTube. Promote. Thank you to everybody. Appreciate you hanging out with me, and we will be back tomorrow at noon for more of this here show. Be good to one another. Be cool. Don't be a dick. Just come on, man. That's like the whole thing, right? If we can accomplish nothing as a show, as a group of people who have hung out every day for 5 years, if we can accomplish nothing, let's just not be dicks. That's what I say every day. He's so deep.